There was a huge moment. Luke Skywalker, one of the most iconic heroes in history, Mark Hamill making a comeback in the season finale there. What went into that decision? There was a risk in doing that, and how did you keep that under wraps?
It was very tricky.
Oh my gosh!
Bro.
Oh my goodness.
It's in black and white, you can't tell. Oh!
It's Xwing. Who could be on the Xwing? I just thought about it. Oh my god, could it be Luke?
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
I'm scared. Yes! No way! Yes!
And it definitely is Luke.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Is this happening? Is this happening? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Is this happening? Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
Jody Luke Skywalker. Who is it? It's Luke! Oh my god, I'm gonna... Please!
This is so cool. Wow.
Oh, please, it's not unhappened. Don't tell me it's unhappened.
It's Luke, my God!
It is!
I thought maybe we talk about, I don't know, why we love Star Wars, why we're here, why you're here at Echo Base Network, a Star Wars channel most of the time. Not that we don't cover other things, but we'll always primarily be a Star Wars channel. And it just so happens, I think that most of you will agree, that the fandom, it's the worst it's ever been. Now, there are certainly going to be some reasons for that, and we can get into that tonight. But tonight's stream isn't about attacking a fan of any kind. It is about the fallout. And, unfortunately, this is something that we'll get into. You just watched the pre-show. I made that pre-show just a couple hours ago when I decided to do this. I thought that would be a great reminder of a moment where the fandom was united. It seems to me that the fandom is united again right now. But instead of that moment with Luke in chapter 16 and the return, and everybody was riding on high, and 50, 60, and even 70-year-old men were crying, saying, Star Wars is back. Star Wars is back. Now we're in this position where it's quite the opposite. Is it that way for everybody? Certainly not. There are people who are saying they really like the current state. Anyways, guys, thank you for being here. We got 350 in the house at the moment. Please share this thing out. Got my Star Wars shirt to show y'all I'm a real fan. We are joined tonight by my 1985 Power of the Force yak face. The Junkman likes that. The Junkman likes that. That's right. Little yak face action there for you. I got my Return of the Jedi 40th edition anniversary mug, and then I got this. You remember these bad boys right here? Do you remember the red label boxes, the CBS Fox boxes for Star Wars? Yes, I remember the first time I saw this cover in the very first rental store. And I said, Mom, that's the one I want. And she said, are you sure? I said, yes. I couldn't even read the back of it, guys. There was something about this cover that said, go watch this movie. And I did. And fast forward 40-something years, and here I am. Still rocking with the greatest franchise ever created. We have some very special guests tonight. We're going to have more people popping in. They're not all here right here at the top of the show, but this is going to be a really, really good one. We're going to engage with you. We're going to have this great and awesome conversation. So welcome to Echo Base Network. Let me go ahead and bring them in. Now, up first, wow, I'm actually rolling out the red carpet for my friends here, okay? I'm not just going to pop them in. We're actually going to talk. Hey, here's my boys. Check it out. So up first, he doesn't know it. I think maybe he does know it. I don't know. But he serves as a producer of sorts for some content creators, including myself. He is a incredibly talented man. He has a whiteboard that he uses extensively. He knows a lot about the West Coast, and he recognizes talent where he sees it. He is surrounded by beautiful ladies all the time, and he is our good friend, John Kokoza. John, what is up, my friend?
What up? Great intro.
Hey, that's all I got. The next guy is a good friend of mine. People like to say that we're related. I don't see the resemblance. I think it might be our dialect. I don't know. We both happen to be toy connoisseurs. He loves his toys. I love mine. He's got a very good channel. He is a troll extraordinaire. He really ticks people off, but it's all in fun. You just got to know him. And ladies and gentlemen, it is that Junkman.
I tick him off by being honest.
You do.
Yes.
And last but not least, he didn't know that he was my co-host tonight, but he is my co-host tonight. He joined us very recently. He didn't know one morning he was going to wake up and be all of a sudden YouTube famous and all these people know him, and he's got a growing number of supporters in the house. He is a Star Wars fan from a long, long time ago, and he is a former employee at Lucasfilm. Ladies and gentlemen, our friend, Payne. What is up, brother?
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Listen to that crispy voice, y'all. He's using
better
the
than last time.
Yes, absolutely. Get you up here with me, John. All right, we're good. We're set. So we're going to be joined by some other people tonight as we're getting into the state of the fandom. Let's just start here, just kind of opening thoughts and statements. You know, social media can be a very brutal and rough place anyways. But is this right now the most divisive the fandom has ever been? Have you ever seen it like this before? How does this make you feel looking at it, you know, with what's going on right now? John, I'm going to start with you, my friend.
Well, if we could take what Chris Gore had warned us about, I mean, you know Chris personally. He's not somebody that's going to overhype something. And when he was going on stream saying, get ready, because this is going to top how everything was after The Last Jedi, he was right. I mean, we are, as a fandom, we're at a pretty low place at this point, but it's cumulative. Yeah. This isn't like this happened overnight. This has been going on for years. And yeah. I think it's just gotten to the point where even the normies, even the people who don't want to engage in any kind of, you know, negativity. I mean, you see YouTubers who always shy away from being negative in their reviews of shows, you know, and they wrap it in a blanket of, well, we don't want to bash any creators. Everybody puts their hard work in, some sort of caveat like that. Even there at this point, saying they're like, hey guys, this is really bad. Yeah. Like, we can't defend this. We can't. Like, yeah. You're hearing it across the board from a lot of different channels.
I agree, John. Well said. And, you know, what you said just made me wonder, I guess. You know, some people like to say, well, you know, the most divisive it's ever been was the Last Jedi. Maybe The Rise of Skywalker for some people, but I would say The Last Jedi, with what happened with Luke. Fans are leaving the theater going, oh my gosh, they just destroyed this trilogy. It's over. You know, I left in stunned silence. And it was not what I fully expected when I walked into the theater that night with Nick and an army of my friends. I fully expected that Star Wars was back. Luke was going to be doing his thing. And something that I have been waiting on for nearly 40 years, there was going to be a giant payoff. That didn't happen. But here's something that I'm wondering. If that happened today, because you got to think about it, social media, that was 7 years ago. Social media is 7 years older now, and it is a lot worse place than it was even then. Like it does nothing but get worse over time. With that thought, I got another friend in the back. He is a incredibly good Star Wars content creator. He runs a live stream that's as good as any and better than most. As good as any and better than most. He's a family man. The first thing he said to me when he saw me in person was, "I thought you'd have been bigger," or "I thought you'd have been taller," or whatever he said. He straight up hit me for being a midget. He recently had a child with his beautiful wife. Ladies and gentlemen, my favorite Star Wars channel, Xwing.
What's up, brother?
This is going to be a good one.
Hello, Punisher.
And,
it was a prequel joke, Coach. General Grievous, you're shorter than I expected. I know you've never seen him before, but it's just what I'm talking about.
Sorry. Truth be told, Xwing, a lot of this idea for this stream tonight came from you. You've done these before.
Yeah, the state of Star Wars.
Sometimes
I always get
we just
clipped
need to
by
go back.
Junkman in the morning.
Yeah. Sometimes we just need to go back and talk
anything about this damn stuff. What's up, Junkman? How you doing?
You don't know Star Wars. You just know prequel shit.
What's up, John? What's up, Payne? Good to see you guys.
We're going around the horn and kind of giving our initial thoughts. So, Junkman, I don't even know how much you're watching the Acolyte, but I know that you're watching the Fallout Online.
Yes, I have not watched any episodes. And if anybody knows, I used to come on here and defend Boba Fett, defend Obi-Wan, defend The Last Jedi.
You did.
I couldn't defend Rise of Skywalker. But
nobody could.
After Ahsoka, I felt like y'all felt after The Last Jedi. Hated that show so much. They haven't gave me a reason to watch this show. It's the first live action show I didn't watch. I watched the Ewok movies when they came out. But they hadn't gave me promotion, interviews. They hadn't told me nothing about the show. Well, I should watch it. So I've been watching reviews, and I've been having a blast watching reviews.
So what do you think about what you're seeing online on social media? How are people responding to all this?
Well, you got the usual same. Everybody's racist. They don't like it. You got that little group. But for the most part, I think for the first time in a long time, we're in agreement that this show sucks.
Yes.
Or at least very mediocre for Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. Mediocre is being extremely kind, I would think, for most people.
There's a reviewer online, a girl. She's probably, I don't know, she sounds young, like 19. Mm-hmm. She's never seen Star Wars. She reviews it, tears it up for about an hour each one.
Yeah.
And that's the market they're going for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she rips it apart.
Well, we say it all the time. They're not pulling in the new generation. They just haven't been. Payne, you as somebody who's been a Star Wars fan as long as you have, and have actually gotten to help make the sausage, okay? As a Star Wars fan, as somebody who was an integral part of, what's going on, what are you thinking about the fandom right now, and have you ever seen it anywhere near this before?
No, I haven't. It's really hard to wrap my head around this. When we talked on the phone a couple days ago, and I told you remember 5-10 years ago, anything that most of what was put online by fans was fan films, right? And now the fan films are streams like us right now. No one's doing fan films. They're not happy to create their own fiction based on the stories that inspire them. They're not feeling inspired. I think that's the biggest thing. People aren't feeling inspiration anymore. And when's the last time I've seen a fan film? I don't know. I mean, hey, if someone point one out, I'd love to see a great one, but I don't remember the last time I've seen one.
there are still guys that are out there making Unreal Engine, small productions. There are people out there doing some animation, stuff like that. And then obviously you got guys like Theory who are doing the big money ones, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like how it used to be, even 10 years ago,
yeah,
nowhere near.
No.
Yeah.
And now, and you think you'd see more because now it's more accessible for people at home to make higher quality content. The software, the cameras.
Yeah.
Cameras. Yeah.
We're not seeing it.
But to jump back on what he's saying, you remember when original trilogy came out? How many people got into the film industry because of the original Star Wars movies?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't see anyone move into the film industry because they watched the Acolyte.
Yeah.
You can't look, just for everybody to make sure they understood what my first cousin said over there. He said, I can't see anybody getting into the film industry because they watched the Acolyte.
Acolyte. I got in trouble last time. I got in trouble with my lady for putting a U in it. Sorry. Crapalite. Okay.
So, Payne, you've never seen it anywhere near this, like with the fan reactions and stuff. You've made a few videos on your channel. Some of them have nothing to do with Star Wars at all. A lot of them have nothing to do with Star Wars at all. But like, what has been like the comments and things over there that you've seen from the fandom?
I think the biggest question people are asking me just like, well, like I can speak what's going on. They're just like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I think what's going on is fans want answers and they're going after anyone they think they might have it. I mean, every YouTuber, everyone, I could have been, like I said, I could have been a janitor there. They're like, I don't care. You were there. What's going on? Like they want answers.
Yeah.
They're confused. And I don't know how to give them. Like, no one knows how to give these answers. And then the people that had the answers are making fun of them and mocking them.
Agreed.
And that's not what they want.
There's a lot of that going.
Yeah.
Business 101. Attack your fans.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. John, no, what I was thinking, I was actually thinking about I was going to buy this old restaurant that they've been around for about 25, 30 years, local place. Pizzas and subs, families love it. They've been taking their children, grandchildren there. I think I'm going to buy them out next month. I'm going to make the whole menu vegan and get rid of alcohol. And the moment someone complains, I'm going to blame all the people that walk in and complain.
Yeah,
exactly.
Am I smart?
And then make sure you pay that restaurant review company to make sure you get good reviews.
Yeah. Hey guys, we got one more guest that's popping in with us right now. He's a longtime friend. He's one of our moderators here and channel members, a good friend of ours. We get to hang out with him over at Icon. Ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars theology known to many by Felix Quiros. Felix.
How you doing, guys? Can you hear me?
What's up, Felix?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. How's everybody?
Good,
man.
Good. So,
Man.
Felix, you were here the other night when Payne was with us. You were in chat. Payne, he's one of our moderators in chat, one of our wrenches. So, yep. I just wanted to make sure y'all knew each other as well.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Xwing, brother. Here's the thing too: is like we got people from like all kinds of different generations and stuff, especially in chat. Xwing is. I'm just a couple years older than him. Not very many. Several inches shorter. I know. But what do you think about how this is going, man? We've never seen a division like this. It used to be original trilogy fans versus prequels. Me and you have gone at it before, like, oh, you're a prequel baby and I'm an original trilogy. No, this is crazy.
100%. Yeah, this is totally so it's totally different, but we've been here before. That's what I'll say. So I feel like I'm the luckiest generation in the world because I got to watch the original trilogy before the prequel trilogy came out, but I was young enough to love the prequel trilogy. And get out of here, Junkman. I'm telling a story, okay? I'm trying to tell a story here. So luckily, I was able to truly love everything that George did in his 6 movies, right? That's the way I feel. Everything that George did for me, that is the artistic vision, that is the direction, that is Star Wars. I know a lot of people don't like the prequels if they're original trilogies fans, but for me personally, that is George Lucas unleashed, right? That's George when he's got enough toys and enough money to do whatever the hell he wants. And so we should love it because that is George's mind going off the freaking rails and doing, basically whatever he wants to do. So I love it. Now, having said that, people tend to forget there was the people versus George Lucas. There was a lot of that stuff that was going around when the prequels came out. There was a lot of vitriol. There was a lot of, I hate it. And it came from a place of love.
I'm sure we have people, Xwing, who have never seen that documentary.
Yeah.
And it was a comedic documentary. Some of it was satire, but for the most part, that's what people really felt.
Right.
There was Star Wars fans that felt betrayed.
Let's not forget 1999 to 2005, you had people lining up around the corner at theaters waiting to see this stuff. I know I was one of them, man. I mean, it was still monumental, incredible, boundary pushing, incredible filmmaking. People are like, oh, I don't like his dialogue. I get it. Trust me. I get it. But here's the thing. I think the reason why George's work still gets a big pass compared to what's going on is that at least when it was George, it felt like, I don't want to say a singular vision, because I think a lot of people would say that there's a lot of difference between the different films. People will say, well, it's not George Lucas. Look, Irving Kershner, did Empire. So why is that, it's not just George, but it's just not true. It was George's vision all the way through. And George's vision was always a very how do you phrase this? He was always very anti-corporation. He didn't want the studios to get a hold of his stories. He didn't want the banks to have a say in what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
And then
he wanted complete control.
Yeah. And then the second he sells to Disney, what happens is George Lucas's worst nightmare, if they had any of his other projects, it gets controlled by a corporate entity. It's controlled now by the banks. Now they have to answer to a board. And so everything that Star Wars is now shifted into what it was meant to never be. And I think that's why people don't accept it, is because the heart is completely gone from it. It's gone. And what happened, dude, it's like losing a girlfriend. It's like losing a wife. I've known this person forever, and all of a sudden they started doing drugs and went to rehab, and now they're working at, some job on Wall Street. And you're like, this isn't the person I know. This isn't the person I love. They've lost their artistic flair. They've lost their heart. They've lost everything that made them who they were in the pursuit of money. And to those of us who've known Star Wars and can see that physically happening in front of us, and then you see your friends, new corporate friends, walking around Manhattan going, no, he's much better this way. Are you kidding me? You're just a piece of shit. You want him to come back to a small town? No, he's much happier here. It drives you nuts. And you're like, you didn't know them the way I knew them.
Right.
And I think that's why people are so pissed off, is that there are these blaring, blatant issues that are, and oh my God, the amount of people that drudge up just weird crap to try to justify whatever's going on is mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling. On both sides, look at MatCave. He had to get a separate disk drive to be able to pull up a disk from 1999 that ran on Windows 98 to prove that Ki-Adi-Mundi was actually 60 years old during the Phantom Menace. That's how far we're willing to go to try to prove this stuff. Like, no, you're wrong. And then there's people saying, canon. No, that's not G canon, that's C canon. Dude, it's enough canon. We shouldn't be having these conversations is the problem. And there's only one entity to blame for that.
Well, there's way bigger problems than that.
Yes.
And it's amazing that people will grab onto the smallest of things. And you just have to wonder, are those people just wanting to join in? Are those people just wanting to, I'm saying something that nobody else has said kind of thing?
I think somebody's dogs are dying.
That's my dog.
I think it's just indicative of
they are pissed at Star Wars right now.
They are watching the Acolyte.
I don't think they like what I'm saying. But you can take these little micro environments and you can extrapolate that into a larger picture of America. Social media, the culture war, political parties, everything. I think right now everybody's so conditioned to just be on one side and at each other's throats that, of course, somebody's going to pick a side. And regardless of what they hear or what they see, they're going to be stuck in that trench.
Yeah.
And it's not going to change.
Let's move over to Felix and get his thoughts real quick.
Sorry.
Felix, that was great. And look, we're not leaving that next one. So Felix, you experienced the high of Luke coming back in chapter 16. And man, the fandom was on fire.
Yeah.
Ken Flint, the author that wrote Heart of the Jedi, a story about Luke Skywalker. He was commissioned to write it by Bantam Books, published by Bantam Books, and he was writing it for Lucas and the company. The book didn't end up coming out. They went to another publisher, or they went to another author, and revealed that story instead. After he had completed the book comes out over on Amazon.
Yeah.
And now you can't buy it for less than $200 because there was only so many made. The author came to our channel. The author told us the entire story here. You were an integral part of that entire thing. And we were just riding high. We were riding high when Luke came back and everything was good. And to see where it is now, it's kind of disheartening for a Star Wars fan of old.
Yes, and if you remember, that's kind of like where everybody, especially in this channel, this family grew up all together. Like I remember that happened. Then we got the Kenneth Flint, and everybody was together. Everybody was in that high. We were thinking that Star Wars was gonna be safe. I was very optimistic, and as you can see, we got through all this journey. We got through the Book of Boba Fett, disappointments, Obi-Wan disappointments. And then for me, and as I told you, for me, the last straw was Ahsoka. And then after that, it's just like, I was expecting certain things there and it didn't happen. And it's kind of sad because especially the last 2-3 weeks have been very bad for Star Wars. And the Acolyte, I cannot watch the Acolyte. It's really heartbreaking for me because as a original trilogy Star Wars fan, that's not a Star Wars. It's just like I can watch any more episodes. It's just like after episode 3, you did great videos about it. You explain everything. So if you guys want to go back, anybody has not seen what happened in the episode, go to your Echo-Based Network episode, and you're gonna see this. But this is very, very sad for original trilogy and prequel fans. This what happened. With with this character. They changed the date of birth. I don't know. They broke canon. I can only imagine how Xwing is feeling right now with this, especially for the prequel fans. It's so bad.
I think people are getting the whole Ki-Adi-Mundi thing a little twisted. It's really not about like his birthday. It's really not about any of that. The bottom line is that if it has been widely accepted by the Star Wars fan base that we knew how old Ki-Adi-Mundi was, is there anything that you can find in canon that says it? Well, you really got to stretch to find it. And that's what kind of peeves me off right now about the way that Lucasfilm is handling it, and especially the people who are in favor of what they're doing or handling it. It's like, yeah, but point to the specific point where it says that. And it's like, well, we have to pull a disc from 1999 that says it. But the problem is, not only has it been established for a very, very long time, that's what we thought. And then they're like, oh, no, we're changing that. But the implications of Ki-Adi-Mundi actually being there, even though it's non-canon, are potentially groundbreaking for George's 3 movies in the prequels.
Yeah.
I mean, potentially, we're talking about taking the Jedi Order, the High Council, and potentially making them criminal, complicit in the rise of the Sith because they knew and they didn't tell anyone. And the argument now is like...
Have they used the word Sith? I haven't watched the show.
See, that doesn't matter, Junkman. If a dude shows up with a red lightsaber, it's a Sith, and that doesn't matter if it's old canon or new canon. Okay, so old canon was that the Sith, they would take kyber crystals, they would synthesize these kyber crystals, and that's why they turned up red. New canon now is that it's Sith alchemy, and they bleed these lightsabers, or I'm sorry, they bleed the kyber crystals, and that's why it turns red. Either way, it doesn't matter. Red is bad guy. Red is Sith in Star Wars. Let's keep it real.
So far,
the fans cheered when they said Ahsoka's not a Jedi and she does every single thing a Jedi does, and the fans didn't complain and cheered. So they opened the gate.
You heard it here first. The day is coming where a Jedi will have a red saber. It's going to happen.
Well, the showrunners pitched the show as the Sith, as getting to see behind the scenes of the Sith. So to act as if they haven't said Sith in the show. It's like you pitched the whole show as Sith.
Yeah.
And the other thing is it just comes down to production. Why even go there?
That's
why
what I'm
even
saying.
have? It's if you're doing this story, there's so many other Jedis that you could have used, that you could have pulled from. You could have introduced new characters. If this is what the show's
they
about.
wanted Yoda, and Filoni said no.
I guarantee you,
I'm glad. I'm glad.
I guarantee you, he shows up.
Well, they bragged how this was going to be apart from the other things. They're not going to link it together, and then they couldn't even help it. What, 4 episodes in, they bring in a Jedi.
Freaking Kiadi Mundi,
couldn't do it,
and then a Plo Koon lookalike. You know.
Well, look, we got some super chats we want to go through, and some of them are very, very good for the conversation. Rogue Sarge with a $20 super chat. Hail everyone at EBN. Thank you, Bobby. You are the man, brother. Appreciate you very much. Good seeing you over there on Graber's channel, where he had Michael Havens as a guest tonight. Yep, very, very neat. The entire reason that tonight's stream is happening is because of my conversation with this gentleman right here earlier today.
My dude.
Without going into a lot of the detail, there is I'm going to say a former friend, somebody who I trusted to run the live stream on our channel on multiple occasions, that I respected a lot and still do.
Oh no, Matt.
Still do. We had a falling out, and I'm not talking about Nick, by the way, everybody. Nick's fine. He's just Nick's not home tonight, or he'd be here. And I'm not talking about Risman. But I don't want to get into who it is. That just know that we had a coming apart because of the way that we look at Star Wars. We're no longer friends because of the way we look at Star Wars. I'm not digging it. He is, and that shouldn't happen.
No.
That shouldn't happen.
Y'all should have fun debating, not
exactly.
I
exactly.
hate the fact that not only am I there with this individual, it's happening all over the place, and it's so divisive and toxic, and both sides attacking each other. And look,
well, we are a bunch of white men.
I'm obviously, Junkman. I'm obviously on one side.
Are you assuming? Are you assuming?
Yeah. Don't you assume my?
Did you just misgender me?
You know.
Sorry.
But look, it's very unfortunate that it's here. Now, from my point of view, the side that's loving Disney, Star Wars, and the Acolyte are being way more vile. But that's my perspective. They don't think that. They see it the other way. Here's an example I want to show you guys. There's this hashtag going out today on X, hashtag SWTWT, Star Wars Twitter. And it started with a lot of the people call them shills. They're the shills. And they're like, let's start this hashtag so we can all see each other and support each other. We're the people who are enjoying this. Nothing negative here. No attacks. Nothing. So they were all doing that. Well, I chimed in. I made one as well. Hi, hashtag, the deal, Star Wars Twitter. We are EBN, a channel ran by two best friends for life and lifelong Star Wars fans. We grew up with the original trilogy and celebrate George Lucas Star Wars. We are very unhappy with Disney Star Wars, but if you like it, cool. And then I get a quote tweet, I don't like it, but if you like it, cool. Proceeds to make it their entire personality to hate people who like it. That is how we are viewed. And I'm going to say this, y'all might think I'm crazy or whatever. If you go and look at the thumbnails that I make for our videos and that's all, then yeah, you probably assume we're a hate channel, and we're not. We're not. We're a judge it for what it is channel. If we think it's good, we're going to say it's good. We're going to praise them. We're going to pat them on the back. We don't hate everything just before it comes out. We just loved X-Men 97, for example. Somebody said it in chat earlier. Y'all really going to act like Disney Star Wars hasn't given us anything good? Yeah, Andor was good. Mandalorian season 1 and 2 was good.
Rogue One
was fantastic. And look, I loved The Force Awakens until afterwards. It had its problems, but until I saw The Last Jedi, that's when I got off the train. But it's just really unfortunate. And look, if we always mean it, if you like it, that's awesome. And I'm not trying to destroy that for you ever. So I just want to make sure that I say that and get that known. MatCave with a big $50 super chat. Let me get through this. What is it?
Nice.
Xwing said he was going to kill me if I like Ahsoka.
I did, yeah. I told him I'd track him down at his house. I'd break his knees with a baseball bat. Yeah.
All right. I see you're going to share something. Let me hit this one and then you can share it away, okay? Or now's the time. Is it the time now?
It has to do with what you were just talking about. So this is a major YouTuber trying to fit in with Star Wars Twitter right now. Hi, Star Wars Twitter. I'm Josh, and I'm looking for more moots. My likes, everything positive. My dislikes, everything toxic.
Yeah.
I did not know about that hashtag.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I got it.
Josh is funny.
He and I had a funny back and forth the other day on Twitter as well.
That dude's hilarious. He's not doing well because that's somebody who generally tries to stay positive, but he gets it from both sides. You know.
Well, look, MatCave Gaming with a big $50 super chat. Thank you. Great to see everyone here. Can't stay, but maybe back soon. Have a great stream, and may the force be with you. We are, you are, EBN. I invited him to the stream tonight, and I hope he can make it. But MatCave, thank you so much for the conversation and in this, and we've had these streams before. We've had, hey, let's get down and have a conversation about what's really happening with fandom. It's sick. It really is. Debbie Young with a $9.99 super chat. Now you've done it.
She is always here.
I'm happy. Making my tears come back and showing me the thing I really loved. And always thanks for doing this. She's talking about the pre-show. For those of you who just came in late, the pre-show was the Luke Skywalker reaction video that we did a long time ago. So that kind of set the mood for tonight. Sir?
I got a little choked up in that. I forgot how as I told you when we talked a few days ago, like I'd stepped away, like not consider myself a fan, and watching that, I remember the fan I was and really felt like I'd lost. How did I stray so far from that?
That was a real moment.
Yeah.
That was peak Star Wars.
That video, here's the irony in that. I am not a professional editor at all, but I enjoy it. I like making thumbnails. I love video editing. Would I want to do it for a living? No, and I'm not that good. But if it weren't for Star Wars, I would have no interest in editing videos. That's where it comes from. All of it. So, anyways, Debbie, thank you so much for that, and thank you guys for saying that. And I hope that you enjoyed that Luke Skywalker reaction video. Mark Hamill tweeted that one out. Mark Hamill was moved. Jon Favreau watched that video and talked about it. That was an awesome moment for the channel, and everybody was united. But here we are now, and we're united, but we're on the other end of it because that's where they are, because that's where we feel like they put us. Got to be authentic, in my opinion. I'm not just going to say I like something and not, So, but anyways, thank you so much, Debbie. Scott Edwards with $1.99. Will you watch Avengers 5? Yeah, I'll watch it. Well, my expectations aren't very high, but hope Marvel gets fixed too. I really do. But thank you, Scott, for sending that in with another one. When do you think we'll get Filoni's film? I don't know if we're going to get any Star Wars movies.
I think by 26, 27, we see something on the screen.
Disney doesn't think they're doing anything wrong.
It can't be. I mean, it can't be before that. So 2026,
27.
Yep. So, they've announced like 4 or 5 projects.
Oh, yeah.
They announced like 15 shows, brother. Remember?
I do.
Yeah. At one time, there was an Xwing movie. There's no, that guy.
Old Patty Jenkins.
Yeah.
Poor Patty.
Yeah.
But Scott, we'll see, man, and we'll keep updating about it. Mobius CGI, $5 super chat. Despite all the Disney Star Wars, I cannot wait to introduce my son to the OG Star Wars and watch, hopefully, the magic ignite. Love the show. Man, that's what it's all about. That's what it's Xwing with a little one. I know You cannot wait.
Dude, are you kidding me, man? And beyond that, I get to show her Bastilla and Satil, all these incredible Ayla Secura, all these awesome female Jedi that are incredible, along with Leia and Padme and everything from the original movies. There have been incredible women in Star Wars since the beginning of time. We didn't need someone else to pioneer a road that had already been pioneered.
Yeah. The things I grew up with, it's so funny, like Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers. I had all my toys, all my collections, doing the channel. God gave me 2 daughters that don't care anything about any of that stuff.
Yeah, my daughter.
Well,
let
joke's
me.
on me.
I went through. Go ahead. Yeah.
Xwing triggered me earlier, so I just want to say my Generation X, is the best. We grew up when Star Wars was new. We were there, and then we got a little older. We got to take our friends to see the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Star Wars time to grow up.
Yeah.
Do you want a medal, Junkman? I don't know what you did.
I want you to suck my dick.
Oh my goodness, Junkman.
You really are a Disney fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
N-O, no.
Bad
longer
Junkman.
than I thought
Bad.
I would. I thought I would. Okay.
Their list, baby. They're like, yeah, we want him.
So I'm gonna share a little story.
Sorry, millennial.
I actually was able this year to sit down with my daughter. My son already, since it was a small boy, he loves Star Wars, especially Return of the Jedi, because Luke, the black suit, he was crazy about Luke. But my daughter, this was the year, she's 15 years old, so she actually sit down with me and we watched the whole Star Wars saga. And I was telling, because I wanted to let her know why I didn't like the sequels. And after we watched the whole 9 movies, then she understood why I didn't like them, because I said, yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same. So it's you can see how they just did it wrong. Yeah, I hope that Xwing, when you get the chance, you get to experience the same thing. They can see by themselves how the later movies, degraded so much from the original ones, and the prequels. So
I will say
this:
Star Wars into her head, and just in case, I'm going to back it up with golf. So at least I have one. So if she's so tired of Star Wars, I'll be like, fine, we'll go golfing. She's like, yes.
X-Wing, you'll like this. When I got contacted, and Junkman did it too, by N-Sabers to review a lightsaber and make a video, they sent me 2. So when I got them in that night, me and my oldest daughter, which she likes Star Wars, just not on the level that I want her to, we were outside at night having a duel in the front yard. And people were driving by all slow, watching. It was hilarious.
I already have her first saber. I'm looking.
We used to play hide and seek in the house with lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
When you found the other person, you ignite the sabers and it's a fight, baby.
I've done that.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, we're gonna keep rolling through the super chats, guys. Thank you so much. Robbie Peppers, $4.99. The Acolyte is the straw that broke the fandom's back. We have had enough, and now it's time to fight for George Lucas Star Wars. I agree with that. But I don't. But I'm not taking the fight to the people who are liking it and attacking there. It's the company.
Oh yeah.
I feel like as a content creator, I have a responsibility to make sure they know what I think about what they're giving us and what they've done to the brand, and what the messaging with this show and all the stuff. I don't hate anybody. I don't hate Kathleen Kennedy. I don't like her, but I don't wish death upon her. But there are some extreme, fans out there that it gets kind of wild with people. Anybody want to speak on that? It's round table discussion.
Ryan Johnson, but just because he's a twerp, he was just such an ass to the fans. That's why I don't like Ryan Johnson.
Well, I saw a coach in Nashville with a Kathleen Kennedy voodoo doll.
That is not true.
Sticking needles in it.
That wasn't a voodoo doll.
Oh! He was sticking something else in it.
Oh goodness. Oh, yep. Well, thank
Joke,
you, Robbie.
They're just jokes.
Thank you, Robbie, for sending that in, man.
But are y'all? I don't even get upset anymore. I didn't get to a point where it don't bother me if it's bad. I don't even care. I don't even care either way.
That's an amazing part of this whole thing is that the people who I'm not going to say all of them, but a lot of the proponents of the Acolyte, the people that are saying that they really love it on social media, they're saying I'm angry.
Yes,
I'm not.
I watched two. So today, while I was working, I watched two videos by fans. I won't say the names because I don't want anybody to go after them at all. They're decent sized channels, 100+ subscribers. I never heard before, but now because of this past week, guess what? Everything's my recommended feed. So it came up, and I just watch it. And one young lady talked about how much she loves it, but she also could really kind of bashed the other side of the fan base a little bit. Saying very cruel and all that. But she's like, I really love it. Listen, I didn't like the video. I didn't dislike the video. I didn't comment. I just watched to the end, and I went on. The only thing I'll say, I watched two videos by two people saying how much they loved it, but what they just said was, I love it. It's everything I want as a woman, or whatever that. And I was like, okay. What I was looking for was describe a certain scene, or was it like you all? And I think this is maybe why I connect and why I've been more on this side of the fence. Is I've listened to the arguments, all the description, I didn't like this, this is why, you really understood, you could justify, you could explain yourselves. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. People it's amazing, and just everyone else who doesn't like it's wrong. I was like, listen, I'm not ever going to tell you, I'm never going to make a reaction video to you loving it, ever. No one should be mocked like that, in my opinion, honestly. But I say, they don't. I just never heard them really describe what they loved, and I'd actually like to hear that. When you said you had the friend who started liking it, it's like I would love to have been on a chat which isn't one-sided, and nothing against anyone here, but I do feel this is a kind of a one-sided conversation. Again, nothing against, but I would really love to hear someone just kind of explain, this is why I really like the scene. Not try to convince me why. Don't convince me why I should like it. That's where I get a little insulted. Don't tell me why I need to like it.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to hear what inspires you. What did you find motivating?
They don't really talk about that because I just have to assume there's not anything. They just have to like it by default for whatever.
They're just defending it for the
I've talked
sake
about
of
stuff that
defending
I
it.
liked in the Acolyte in my live streams before. As I'm watching the show, you can say there have been multiple times, and I have gotten shredded for this. There have been multiple times where I said, I like the way they set up that scene. I like that they're actually, this is, believe it or not, one of the only shows that I've seen from Disney Star Wars where they're finally starting to get the music back in the right place. It's not John Williams, but they're putting music at least back into the right place that no one's talking about it.
Right.
Which is the best thing you can hear. I'm
going to watch some of your videos because I do want to hear both sides. Like I said, I stepped away because I've been
don't
wanting
watch
to be
any
inspired.
of my recent ones because I've just been really angry lately. But
okay, I'll go back 5 or 6.
I'd be happy to do a good comparison.
I think probably the reason probably that's happening, Xwing, is because there's all the things that are so bad that even though that the music is good,
it's taking up the time.
It's taking up the time. Like, for example, one of the reasons I don't like the Acolyte is because those Jedis are not following the Jedi code. If you go back to what a Jedi needs to be, they're not follling the code.
But the answer is that this is a different time that you don't understand, and we say, well, canonically, you can look back at what Jedi should act like, and then the answer is this is establishing canon. You can't go back to canon because this is establishing canon. Because it's a time we haven't been to before, which is such a sketchy road for anyone to handle. But for Leslie Headland to be the one at the head of the ship cooking the ravioli on that is a really risky take for me by Lucasfilm. That she's going to be the one to trod the path. It's like, do what you're going to do, but is it working out for you?
Don't worry, she'll take Kathleen Kennedy's spot in about 3 years.
So that's
I think you're right.
What you just said, Xwing, is the perfect segue to that is this comment that she said in the New York Times 3 weeks ago, right before the first episode dropped, the dual release. And thank you, Robbie, for sending that in. We're going to keep rolling through the Super Chats, guys, and we appreciate it very much for your support and you joining in on the conversation and kind of steering it. But when Leslie Headland said, she followed up with a text message, I stand by my empathy for Star Wars fans, but I want to be clear, anyone who engages in bigotry, racism, or hate speech, I don't consider a fan. Let me say this about that. I have not seen racism in tweets about the Acolyte.
I haven't seen any.
I have
You've
not
seen it
seen
in a music video.
I've asked.
I saw it in a music video. I sure did. Yeah. That was.
I don't understand what was being said because I didn't even know.
But the thing is like that was a red flag, and that was if you don't like it, it's hate speech. That's not hate speech.
Anything falls under hate speech. So.
And
well, that's a very easily movable goalpost is the problem.
But,
so that doesn't actually set up or justify any barriers at all. If I can say, dude, what is Amanda Stenberg doing right now? As an honest criticism, you can pull 6 frames from 6 different shots when she's surprised, shocked, afraid, smile, happy, whatever. And if they're all the same face and you're like, dude, she's not acting, you are R word. You're a bigot. You're, whatever the case may be. How do you justify it?
You Xwing, you don't understand. It's not about acting. She's on that
being a
side.
narcissist.
Yeah,
that was just it's just an example. I'm not actually putting anything on the table. I'm just saying that is a moving goalpost that you can justify or it doesn't matter what happens. If there's a movie critic that you really like and they say Amanda Stenberg is not acting the way she needs to for the series, he'll be praised and be like, wow, finally somebody made a decent comment about the show. And then I'll go on and be like, Amanda Stenberg is not acting. And guess what I'm going to get?
Yeah. And at the same time, I don't know why, I'm probably the only person on earth that didn't know this, but John Campea was actually coming out and bashing Disney and some of the decisions that they've made, being critical.
Oh, yeah.
And he made a video about why Kathleen Kennedy should no longer have the position that she has. And you know what Disney did? They pulled his credentials, and he can no longer go and review anything early. He no longer has access to anything. And and I, even though I disagree with Campy on a lot of stuff, I respect that. And you have to take everything that the critics say with a grain of salt. The way I look at it is this. I've said it on this channel many times. If you're looking at a critic and seeing what they say, you to do your research and to find out how authentic they are, you have to go back and see what they've criticized over time. Have they, in fact, ever been critical of anything Disney has made or Star Wars? Yeah. Most of the time, it's no. They just like it all. Yeah. And it's that same stuff that you guys were talking about. They're not giving you any specific details.
It goes
or they'll just say the story's good. Nothing about the story.
And this is such a contradiction to the production process. The internal production process, I don't know if anyone's ever worked in production, having sat through dailies. Dailies can be utterly brutal. If you've ever been under the spotlight, had your work up on the little mini theater on the screen, getting eviscerated in front of all your colleagues as you just shrunk into the chair, and it's wondering like how I'm going to come back from this, but I also realize it's not personal. They're trying to make everything better, and no one thinks less of you. In fact, what they do, the more you get ripped up, if you can pick your head up, walk back to your desk, and do your job and fill up all the notes, you will earn the respect of your colleagues. But then on the outside, any feedback is like they're triggered. It's like it's such a it's not the same what I experience on the inside. It's like we are really brutal about the details. We want to make a good product. So why can't you take the same kind of feedback? And trust me, the feedback I've seen from fans is nowhere near as critical to the feedback I've seen in shot reviews. So it blows my mind that this feedback can't be accepted on the outside.
I mean, we've seen George do that stuff. We've seen the behind the scenes where he's in a dailies and he just goes, no. He's like, why did you even get hired here? No.
He's one of the nice ones.
Yeah.
There's some that are brutal.
I can't believe they have dailies for this show because it looks like somebody just turned in a first draft and they shot it.
Yeah.
It looks like ninth grade drama club.
It reminds me, just to like stay on the topic of basically Disney at this point, this is something that Walt did consistently. Somebody would work their butt off and he would come in and be like, nope, but guess what? You're going to get there. Keep working.
Yes.
We're going to get there. There was a vision.
Yes. They're fine-tuning.
Everyone goes through that, not just artists. I was a software engineer. They would put your code up on the big screen and have every line of your code just eviscerated. Everyone, every level that works goes through that because they want to make everyone better, because you build up everyone and you build a better product. So yeah
like at my work, when I do something, I get peer reviews for what I do, so I need to get and implement that peer review comment to better the quality of what I show.
In cybersecurity I work in now, everything is peer reviewed. Everything. Always.
Yep.
It's a microcosm of society. That's what it is. It's a microcosm of society. And so the problem is if you curate a creative environment where you don't replicate society, where you don't replicate a small microcosm of society, when you put it out and you said, everyone said this was amazing, and then it gets put out to society and they rip it apart, well, you didn't have a good sample group. You didn't replicate society. So what did you expect to happen? It's the definition of yes man. The definition of it.
Yeah. I mean, I bet they all pat their back at Disney, it seems, with these shows.
So the interesting thing is that when you have people who are working in production like that, they can't lash out. So if they create something and they're getting reviewed, they can't really lash out at their coworkers. But there's this environment at Lucasfilm where they think it's okay to lash out at the fans critiquing them. And that's the last person that you want to lash out on. In terms of what you're saying about people attacking on Twitter, because of the memes I dropped, I got a lot of feedback from people. And I was specifically criticizing writing decisions and piecing them together and showing how silly they were. And the comments that I got back defending it really didn't defend it. They're like, well, what's wrong with that? People change their mind. And it's like, yes, people change their mind, but in a movie, in the storytelling process, you can't go from one scene that they're saying, oh, she's dead, 100%, I believe it. And then the very next scene, oh, I believe you, she's alive.
Yeah.
You have to have something in between in the storytelling process to break that up. And another really good example was somebody tried to compare what Vader did, how Vader changed his whole, he changed. It was May. So May in the last episode, she's like, I really want to do this. I want this. I'm going to kill him. And then suddenly 2 minutes later, oh, I don't need to do this. No, everything's changed. And then we had posted that online and somebody's like, well, Vader changed. It's like, yes, Vader changed over the course of an entire film. After meeting his son in the hallway and them having a heart-to-heart and his son saying, I believe in you, I can do this. And then standing there seeing his child be electrocuted by the Emperor. Those are major plot points in between that you can understand and believe that a character changed. And that's what we're missing in this Acolyte. There's these just long segments of character development that are not there.
Yeah.
And that's also why we're talking about shows that are the same length as a Seinfeld episode.
Yeah.
And when you watch the Seinfeld episode, they were all over the place. They're at the diner twice. They're downtown. They're at George's. So much happened.
No soup
in
for
that
you.
In that time frame.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't have that in the show.
To your point, this is something that brings me back to one of my favorite people in the entire nerd space that will ever exist, Robert Meyer Burnett. He uses the word consistently, verisimilitude, right? The quality of being believable. That's not just for set design. It's not just for special effects. That leaches into storytelling 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And to your point, the verisimilitude is waning rapidly.
So to piggyback on that, having, had Robert Meyer Burnett here as many times as we've had him and been on other streams with him, being pretty good friends with the dude for 5 years now. And he's been with us from the beginning. Something that he talks about often, and I'll say this for starters, he's on the other end of the aisle politically than myself and Nick. But he says it all the time. Conversations are important.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay that we don't agree. We could still have the conversations. And that is something that has been lost in fandom, where I don't know why, but just because I am not digging the Acolyte, I am looked at as an enemy. I wish it were not that way. And fans on both sides have a little bit to do with it, without question. They really do. Here's another example. This person here, talking about me, I can handle different opinions. What I can't handle is you assholes acting like people who like new Star Wars are inferior human beings. I don't like a good chunk of what Disney's put out either. Difference is I know how to not be an asshole to people who do. I don't know where that's coming from. Probably my tweet. And here's something that I talked about to MatCave earlier. You know, I kind of like feel like I could take a pretty good slap in the face occasionally. No big deal. I laugh almost everything off. But when I get like an inordinate amount of attack, I eventually start counterpunching. And when I start counterpunching, gloves are off, baby. And I'm coming after you. And that's the Echo Base Network that you see on Twitter, that if you don't know us, you're like, oh my gosh, these guys are awful. Well, I get it. But that's me reacting. And I'm not trying to justify it, but that's just the truth of it. If you actually come here and spend any time at all, I think you realize we're pretty easy to get along with. We don't mind what you like at all. You know, if you could handle my opinion, I can handle yours. No problem. You know, but the world is not that way.
I was on the receiving end of that. Coach and we could just go back a year ago to Ahsoka.
We got into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was waiting for Ahsoka. I liked it. I gave it a 7.8. I see what everybody's saying. Definitely there was problems. Guess what? I see it. But do I still love it? Because I love the character and I love the metaphysical storyline of the Force and getting into the Mortis arc. Yeah. That's what I'm into. So I'm down with that. But it doesn't mean like I hate Coach. It's you know, it's like, dude, you just battle it out. It's all good and your friends in the end. But see what they came at you and started calling you a-holes. I saw that. I mean, on Twitter, you know, when I'm posting memes and people start attacking me, it's like, you just gave me a reason that I don't have to respond to you. It's just, and Payne gets this because, you know, he's put stuff out there and you got to put it before your peers. I do that with my work. And people come back to me, they're like, man, your stuff sucks, man. And they'll say that. They're like, your photography's horrible. Your story is awful. And it's like, okay. You just got to let it bounce off you and don't take it personally. But
well, that was a great comment there. Payne, do you have any stories that you could share, something that you worked on that maybe the fandom wasn't digging? We were digging it all back then, weren't we?
I think so. I think the first season of Rebels was a tough one because it was a transition out of Clone Wars. The Clone Wars wanted Clone Wars fans wanted Clone Wars, and Rebels was not Clone Wars. And
I hated the lightsabers. Isn't that funny that that's one thing that took me out of it? The pencil lightsabers. I'm like, what are we doing?
It was very kiddie.
Yeah.
It was very kiddie. It was very like kid show.
But it had a great, but it sounded like Star Wars. It had a great sound to it. The ties
they weave
coming
the heart
by.
into that? Eventually, they wove the heart into that series where you cared.
Yeah,
first season was rough. Yes,
I'll say so. I'll say so.
I got to stop the super chats right now because the inspiration for tonight's live stream has joined us, ladies and gentlemen.
You said Xwing was.
Well, no.
No, he just texted me. He's like, hey, do you want to do this? I'm like, you know I'm in, bro.
Yeah. No, you were like, I'm gaming. I'll talk to you tomorrow. You know, that's what I heard you say. Anyways, my good friend, the MatCave. Good to see you.
MatCave. Hello there.
MatCave.
MatCave.
So,
what's up,
man?
guys?
You just walked right in the middle on this one. We've been talking about it all. The fandom.
Oh my goodness.
How it's been going. You know, it's both sides of it. It's very unfortunate to see. You know, and I don't know how long you've been here, but John Kokoza just brought it up. Me and John had it out when Ahsoka dropped. You know, we did. You know, we had a back and forth, and it took a couple days to talked on the phone. We're like, all right, we're cool. It's all good. But man, you could fan is short for fanatic, like and. MatCave, thoughts on you know, you were here with Felix when let's call it the era of positivity.
Oh, that was
we were all united because
the
things
golden
were
age.
going so well.
The golden age.
The golden
That's when
age.
I started. That's when I met MatCave, and I think MatCave turned me on to Echo Base. Actually,
it could have been. I remember, like, I've met.
That's your fault, MatCave. Oh,
it could be my. You know what? I'll go ahead and take the blame on that one.
Hey, MatCave, I love the background. You know, the original arcade Star Wars. That's cool,
you know, we gotta attack the Death Star, man. We got to do this.
Yep.
You know how often I play this game? It's ridiculous. It's actually embarrassing.
You gotta blow up the Death Star. You got to blow
yeah.
the Death Star like you Anakin Skywalker.
MatCave, tell us. Oh my goodness, simping for MatCave.
Still rocking the MatCave pint glass after all these years.
All right.
So I bet
your thoughts.
Payne could code that game for us and send it to us at this point.
I'm sure he could.
Actually, I got to say, Payne, very nice to meet you, sir. I
You as well.
really digging the camera tech videos you do. From
thank
the
you.
stands to the mounts and everything. I'm like, man, this guy, plus your production value. Like, I don't know what you're using to shoot it, but you incorporate the film grain. And I'm like, oh,
Yes.
it looks so good.
You know what?
Do I
actually,
need to get y'all a room or something? My
yeah,
goodness.
I'd say a tip is it helps with the banding because YouTube compression just destroys everything. So
Yeah.
that's actually.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
So I did see that MatCave was watching several of your videos, and he was like, "Oh, that video's not there anymore. It was the cameras." He was
I went to go to
really
the next one,
enjoying.
and they all vanished. I was like, what did I do?
Oh man, MatCave, your thoughts about the fandom, man? I told them all after that very generous super chat that you sent that you did not have to do that, my friend. But I told him a little bit about our conversation. I didn't get any specific details about people, but it's just arguing over whether or not we like Star Wars and the product they're giving us is not worth the destruction of friendships.
It's really not. We're at a point, and I actually I kind of steered away from what I just do on my channel, and I made a video talking about the state of the fandom. I never do that. Like, it's just, I leave that to the pros, guys. I'm not a Star Wars channel. I love Star Wars. I've been a lifelong fan since pretty much the beginning, and I've seen the ups and downs, and we've had some major ups and we've had some epically major downs, but now it's the worst I've ever seen it. Like, I think we're worse off now than we were with The Last Jedi.
Oh yeah.
And
This is worse.
I thought the bar couldn't get any higher, like, at that point. Like, but somehow the thing that I've noticed is that everything that's happening with both the hate and the love for the current product is incredibly exaggerated, to the point where I just can't even take it seriously. Like, I just started ignoring everything. I went into, I explained it in the video I posted, that I'm like, the way I went into all this with the new show was I didn't watch any interviews or anything. I didn't know who Leslie Headland was. I didn't know she existed on this planet until the show.
It's probably a good way to do it.
Same.
Right?
Yeah.
The only thing I watched were like the first 2 teaser trailers. And then when I saw they were starting to show a bit more, I was like, okay, let me back away. I just want to experience the show. And I know I know you and I, we're going to disagree on the show, which is perfectly fine. That's kind of the whole point of all of this. It's the exaggerated stuff that's going around on Twitter and all this stuff. I had it in, with someone a little bit, like, not as much, not nearly like what you've been dealing with and what others deal with. But I stepped out of the shadows a bit and started saying my piece in things. And, I saw things flooding in, and somebody even deleted their reply to me because I replied to them very respectfully. And then they just deleted the not so nice comment they left. I was like, all right, I'll take that W. But it's just very silly, right? People are destroying friendships. People are destroying their relationship they have even to just this franchise that we grew up with, that we love, that many of us, I should say, that many of the people that are doing this claim to love. But it's like, I don't know. How can you justify acting that way? And it's just, I don't know. I'm sad.
When Rebels came out,
it is very disheartening. Go ahead, Nico.
I had a lot of personal friends would say to me, like, "Hey, nothing personal. I'm not really like a new series." Like, yeah, it's nothing personal.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's nothing personal. I never asked any of you to like it. I'm just trying to pay bills.
Yeah.
Well, do y'all only see this hate online? Because I go to conventions, I meet other fans. I don't see it. I just see it online, and it seems like getting smaller and smaller in my group.
Everybody's a barking dog when they got a keyboard, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
you got a keyboard. You're
Yeah.
you're brave. You're
I don't
a
count that
warrior.
as the fan base. I just count that as people blowing off steam on Twitter, or people just trying to engage on Twitter. So, so to me, it seems like the fan with this new show. It seems like I see a lot more people not like this new show than I did any other show, and it seems like we're less divided now than we've been since the Last Jedi.
Hey, Junkman, I got to tell you, man, you, well, as we say here in the South, you got sack. You do, because
I love it, man.
Is it showing?
There are some
loves
people. There are some people in the toy world that do not like you.
Oh, I know. I love it. I love my God.
As a matter of fact, I would say that you have in that world, you have some pretty powerful enemies.
Well, somebody hacked into my PayPal twice, and now they hacked into my Kenner Toy Twitter account and changed the password. So
there's no worse way to wake up in the morning for me. I wake up and it goes, Junkman added you in a tweet, and I'm like, oh, damn.
Do it every morning now.
And there have been a couple times where I was like, shit, he got me on that one.
Yeah, he likes to transpose my face onto other people all the time.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Oh, he just clips me straight out, and he's like, "Look at this retard." I'm like, damn
I hope I didn't get you guys.
I'll call out anybody if they say something.
Yeah, you will.
I hope I didn't get you guys in trouble in my tweets.
Oh yeah, you can too. But Junkman walking around a toy convention wearing a "Cancel That Junkman" shirt, and I'm sitting there thinking, he knows there are people here that do not like him. Yeah. I love it.
That's the first thing you said when we met in Nashville. You walked up and said, "There's people here that don't like you." And I was like, good.
Wow.
Who cares though? Really, in the end, I mean, that's
I'm doing. At least they know who I am.
That's the big thing in the end is that, the bottom line is who really cares. And so believe me, Coach, I don't know if you've seen, I geared up. I went into the Hunger Games of the X Twitter wars this week and finally started putting myself out there because like you, I've gotten punched in the face enough at this point. They're like, you're a racist. You're a bigote. You're blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? Let's get out on Twitter and just have some fun, right? Because if you try to preserve an image and stay neutral, ride the fence, guess what happens? You wind up with splinters in your butthole.
Mm-hmm.
You just get ran over.
And either side of the fence is going to claim you as their own, and then the other side of the fence is going to make you an enemy because the other side claims you as, whatever the case may be in this culture war. So why not get out there, have some fun?
I mean, I get shit for being on this channel, or I mentioned that I watched Ryan, or I watched the Gamer Kid, or I watched Nerd Erotic, and I get shit for that, and I was like, hey.
Well, RMB talks about that many times. How when he put himself out there and he's doing streams with Jeremy, he's doing streams with Nerd Erotic. There's people in the LA community who were like, how could you talk with those people? It's this very tribal thing. But I go back to this is the fault of the production company. When you make products and you want to do the message and attach things to the modern day audience, you want to make it modern. You are attaching things to things that people feel very personally and strongly about. And if you are going to make a show and you're going to advertise it as the gayest Star Wars show ever, you're going to attract the activists. And as soon as somebody says something bad about that show, their reaction is not to the show itself. It's, you're attacking me and what I stand for because I wear this cause on my sleeve. And that's where we're at with Star Wars. It never used to be like that because it was just about good storytelling and everybody could enjoy it. Men can enjoy it, women can enjoy it, black, white, Chinese, doesn't matter. But when you want to make these shows activist shows, this is what we end up with.
Well, they pump it up. They pump it up as such in the pre-press, right? So this is why I think that actors, actresses, showmakers should not be allowed on a press junket anymore. You've lost privileges for press junkets. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
You have completely lost your privileges because you are so willing to inject your own ideology, whatever that may be. It doesn't matter, left, right, upside down, sideways, doesn't matter. You're so willing to inject it that you turn fans off from either end of the spectrum, regardless. They want to hypercharge this stuff because press is good press, right? Any press is good press. And the funniest part is, what was the biggest thing headed into the Acolyte, right? was Leslie Headland saying, "This is queer-coded Star Wars. I'm writing this. This is queer-coded Star Wars. It's an allegory from my life. R2-D2 is a lesbian. C-3PO is gay. This is what we're making. We're making gay Star Wars for gay people." And then, was it last week or a couple days ago? Leslie Headland comes out and she's like, honestly, I think if people are looking at the witches as if they're lesbian, it just seems like you're really not reading into the show the way you should.
Yep.
And I'm like, you just went on a 4-week press junket telling us how it's queer-coded Star Wars.
So we made a
And then
video
we
about
watch
that
it, and
earlier
you're like,
today.
What?
She said we're looking at the story and we're being reductive to the story.
Yeah.
But you know, and look, we can all have our qualms about the story and all that, but the whole fandom thing, the lines have been drawn in the sand, and it's just an all-out war right now. And I got to tell you, right here in the middle of this, I am going to just read this. This gentleman who was attacking me on Twitter, I said,
attacking. Come on, coach.
Well, so I titled a live stream from last week, "The Acolyte Destroys Star Wars: Shills versus Lucas era fans." That's what I called it. And he says, insinuating that liking Lucas era Star Wars and liking some of the Disney stuff are mutually exclusive. And he was saying, you know, I should be ashamed for posting that. And I said it was just a generality, but that's fair. I said, we're live right now if you'd like to join, you know, the show. And he says, I appreciate the way you handled that civilly. And I can at the moment, but I'll watch the replay. And I appreciate that. That I wish I could have more interactions like that. But
that's called civility.
Yeah. I will say this. That's who I am.
Yeah.
You know, I could get along with anybody, but when I've been slapped in the face 25 times, I could counterpunch with the best of them too. And I can get down and dirty and ugly too. And boy, I could use some bad words, and I could get you know, and be funny and go to a ridiculous gif and call you Karen over and over. And sometimes I do that, but
I'm not beyond calling someone a retard on Twitter. I don't care.
Well, but here's the thing. If you're really liking the Disney Star Wars and the Acolyte for whatever reason, and you come to Echo Base Network and you do one of two things. If you just look at our thumbnails, or if you just look at our Twitter posts, you are going to assume that we are a Star Wars hate channel. And we're not. This is a conversation that I had with MatCave earlier. We're not. Yeah. We're being authentic in this moment on this very thing, but we don't preconceive. We want to love Star Wars. We want to like everything that they come out with. We don't attack anybody for liking what they like unless it's like a retaliation of sorts. You know what I mean? And it's really gotten to a bad place. I'm not saying we're perfect. I'm not saying that we're without fault. And I'm not saying that we don't look bad. But I also say this. I make some dang good thumbnails.
You do. I love it when people are like, "You're just clickbait." I'm like, "That's the point of YouTube, stupid."
Yeah, I can't
kind of the game.
So the problem with Twitter, because this is the platform in which most of like the stuff like YouTube and stuff like that, Instagram Reels, they all get the court of public opinion on Twitter. If you ask somebody, "How do you feel about the conflict in Palestine?" Are you going to sum that up in 120 letters? No. So what we're seeing are tiny little sound bites. This world is nothing but tiny, small sound bites. And it's the same thing for the press. So the problem is that there's no discourse. We're unwilling to have discourse because you put these 7 words in a tweet. Now I know everything I need to know about you.
Yeah.
It's distilled to the point where it's 250% alcohol. You take a shot and you're hammered. It's too distilled. There's no room for the gray area anymore. There's no room for discussion.
Very thin surface level. That's all everyone reacts to now. Even the media, which it's funny. I laughed when you talked about the press. I don't think the press exists anymore, in
No.
all honesty, in my opinion. The press hasn't existed in a long time. I purposely look up articles for things, and usually video game related and stuff, but I have to get through all of the junk that comes through first, because a lot of it either looks like it was just quickly generated by AI, or the person had literally nothing to say, and there's misspellings all throughout it, and it's just a very sloppy, maybe two-paragraph, if you're lucky, thing that says nothing. Like,
Are you talking about my tweets right now?
I mean,
Come on, man. Come on, man.
It's just like they think of a title, and then that's it, and then whatever comes after it usually makes no sense. Now, there's plenty of other things out there that have all kinds of information. Like, I love reading through the articles that Jake James Lugo puts together, talking about the gaming industry and stuff like that.
He doesn't get enough love.
Out. He really doesn't get enough love. His stuff is fantastic, his podcast stuff and everything. But the thing I love about it is that it's intelligent, it's well thought out, it's not just slapped together and thrown out there as fast as possible. And he brings the research, he brings information, and I love that. You got to filter through all this other stuff that just pops up in your face all the time, where it's just garbage.
You know what sucks though, MatCave? For as awesome as Jake James Lugo is for what he does, that's not what's hot. That's not what people want. That's not what people click on. That's not what gets views. You create a beautifully structured argument about whether you like or dislike something. And if it's longer than 30 seconds, people have no interest in looking at it.
Oh, yeah.
That's how the brain works today.
It's I swear to Bob, this is an evolutionary fault. Like our brains have actually encountered an evolutionary fault.
We're all going to be on Adderall.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. I've got to go through these super chats, gentlemen. And chat, thank you for your patience. We're going to hit all of them, and thank you for joining in on the conversation. Gentlemen, as I'm going through these, feel free to speak on them if that's something that, if you feel so inclined. Fill in the blank with $4.99, wondering what are the chances of a Luke-type cameo during the Acolyte? Maybe a 200-year younger Yoda. Thoughts? I mean, I wouldn't say Ki-Adi-Mundi is a Luke-type cameo. For a Luke-type cameo, it could only be Yoda, could it not?
No, but let's move
Not
away
necessarily.
Let's move away from those
Remember
guys.
that Leslie Headland specifically stated in her interview that she was excited to introduce expanded universe characters. Now, if she's really wanting to walk that line of the Sith and the rule of two and everything else, the only thing that would make sense would be that Darth Plagueis would be there, which obviously ruins what we in our brains as real Star Wars fans call, our head canon, the canon of Star Wars, that it would be Darth Tenebris and Plagueis at this time.
So just to push back a little bit on that, that would only be a Luke Skywalker character for an EU fan, not for a general Star Wars fan. But you got Luke
normally
Skywalker.
It'd be like, why does that guy have a huge head?
They would exactly. They wouldn't even know who that is. So,
I hope they don't go there.
So thank you, fill in the blank for that. Showroom Sabers, Xwing, whoa, no way, and back-to-back nights of streams. Amazing State of Star Wars EBN editions. Yeah,
it's good to
let's
see
go.
you, brother.
Good to see you, Showroom Sabers.
He's awesome.
He is. Matt Risman, $9.99. Whoa, what an amazing panel on a Friday night. Wish I could have been there. Peace and love all.
That
he is
guy's
at a
not
concert
awesome.
having fun.
Not awesome.
That man is awesome. We miss him. Love you, brother. I'll call you later.
I got you covered, Risman. I'm covering the Matt territory.
There we go. Thrawn's office, $2. Knee pain, we love you, brother. Fist bump.
Thank you.
Yeah. What an
That's
incredible
awesome.
story that you've made, that you're in the space now.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. And Echo Base,
Yeah.
God love you for bringing.
We just
Knee Pain
pulled him right
man.
in there, didn't we?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
Knee pain,
was-
you are now part of the tribe.
Well, I mean, it really is. It's insanely interesting to me to see a developed side and a fan side. That's what really interests me, because a lot of times we get into these conversations and we're like, how could they ever make that decision? And then you talk to somebody who's been in a creative space and they're like, well, it wasn't, I mean, that was never like a thought in our heads. We were just, we're making a show. We're just making a show.
You make a
know
show
what I
and you're
mean?
on a deadline. You're on a deadline.
Yeah.
You're at work.
You
Much
have to
like your
make
job.
it.
Like, yeah.
That's like the Wookiee thing that's been out right now. People are all pissed off about the Wookiee fight not being a part of it, which I totally get it. $200 million, almost $200 million. That's how much Dune 2 cost to make. You couldn't put the Wookiee fight in there?
Well, I mean, we're going to see him fight in a flashback. We won't see him die unless it's some kind of flashback to the past. You know, we see him with his saber out fighting in the trailer. Yep. But yeah, the disappointing thing, as the story goes, is the entire episode's premise was a journey to kill Naka's house.
Yeah.
I just keep trying to tell my friends, like, bro, wait until you go super hard on some of this stuff, because I guarantee you they're doing the Rian Johnson gotcha on some of this stuff.
Probably
so if you go super hard on it, and then by the end of episode 8, it gets redacted, they're going to be after you like crazy.
Yeah.
The guy fucking flipped his lid over something, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's
then you look silly. Yep.
Yeah, and then you look silly.
Yep. Zorlag with a $2 super chat. Ooh, anyone who likes the prequels is we-totted. Come on, man. Come on. Come on.
That's not even how you spell it. It's retarded.
Yeah.
How could you not like Revenge of the Sith?
Apparently Zorlag is we-totted.
I have a love-hate relationship with some of the prequels. You know, but yeah, Revenge of the Sith, masterpiece.
And the novelization of the Revenge of the Sith.
Attack of the Clones is a masterpiece.
I
guess what? The Phantom Menace is a masterpiece too.
I love the Phantom Menace.
I would challenge you, Coach, right now. Sit down tomorrow and write me a better pod race scene.
The pod race scene is horrible.
Okay,
Yoda fighting. Who here squealed like a little kid when I saw Yoda fighting?
Yeah.
Like out of the chair. Yes.
I just showed that movie.
Bro,
opens
up his cloak, and we see. You want to see something really cool?
And he didn't grab it. He didn't grab it.
Use
the
the
lightsaber
Force.
came to his.
It was so good. It was so
I
good.
built this on my 3D printer last week.
Nice.
That is a 1-to-1 scale, perfect reproduction of Yoda's lightsaber.
So, hey, Felix will appreciate this. I used to coach basketball for 20 years, and we used to talk about something in basketball called a balance hand pickup, which is you're handling the ball with your left hand, your balance hand, your weak hand, and you bring the ball to the pocket. You snap it up into the pocket. And every time I taught that, I thought about Yoda. You bringing the saber to his hand.
It makes sense. Yeah, see, you guys say you don't like the prequels, and then we talk about it, and you're like, "Oh, that was so sick."
I love Anakin stay in the cockpit. Every moment after that in the Phantom Menace is gold. But before that, I'm out.
I like the prequels. I just don't love it, but I have a fond memory of that time period too that helps me enjoy those.
Don't you walk it back, son?
No, I never said I hated it.
Don't you dare walk
I have
that
never
back.
said I hated it. I said
One thing I'm gonna say about the,
but I like them.
Go ahead.
One thing I was gonna say about the prequels is that the fandom was united at those moments to see the movies. You know, all those stories about making the lines, going to the, getting your tickets, staying in the line for friends.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I wanted to make.
Friend. Yeah.
That's exactly the point I wanted to make here. Earlier, Xwing, you said people are behind their keyboards mad. So I have a slight theory, and I don't want you all to agree because I don't want an echo chamber. I kind of feel small part of the problem is a lot of this content is streaming, which means people are behind what they're not doing is getting out from behind the keyboard, going out going to public, parking at the parking lot, at the theater, walking in groups together, waiting in line to get the popcorn, and go in as one collective crowd who's not fighting online. They're there for fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
Do
you know why, Knee Pain? I think Disney knows it would fail.
Yeah. Probably, probably burn the theaters down if they watch Acolyte in the theater, right?
I mean, that's like a very extreme version of it, for sure. But to be honest, I don't think they have the nards to take a story like the Acolyte and put it out, because the problem is they've lost such a majority of the goodwill of the fan base. It's not like when Force Awakens came out, where we're like,
no,
Star Wars again.
Well, that's how it was with the special editions and the prequels.
Yeah.
That was
my generation.
That was their cash cow.
My generation, I was born at the end of the original trilogy. I was born in 79.
Yeah.
So when 99 rolled around and the Phantom Menace hit, I get to go see Star Wars in the theater? You mean I don't have to have these guys that are 5 years older than me telling me about it all the time anymore. I get to go experience it. It's magical.
Yeah. And
it's
then
magical.
get our rocks and start crying.
Yep. Let's continue through. Now, I will say this, Felix, if you could still hang with us, as soon as we get through with these super chats, unless somebody else goes there, I would like you to kind of talk a little bit about the James O'Keefe situation and what happened.
Last night.
What happened with Disney? Just to give you guys an update on that situation, he is now taking a leave of absence. The lawyer.
Sure.
Yeah.
It just hit the news right
the
before our
G-Men
stream
showed
began.
up.
He's gone.
The G-Men showed up for sure.
So we will jump into that, Felix, if you're still around.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Debbie Young, 999. I look at it this way: the anger and the divisiveness that we see to have shows just how much we love Star Wars, and we're just responding to the fact that they took it from us. Long live Star Wars. Thank you so much, Debbie. We love you very much. Scott Edwards, $1.99. There is 3 cannons.
Well, 4 on a sloop.
Well,
7
I
on a
guess there could be
frigate,
as many as you want to be, but Dave Filoni said in a recent interview, canon is whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
And before
It's a
that, he
campfire.
said, it's interesting. Dave Filoni said, canon used to be whatever George made. Now it's whatever you want it to be. And
why do we get mad about canon now? You know, Obi-Wan.
Filoni said that?
Obi-Wan.
He did.
And
Great,
Owen
the
and
Acolyte
Obi-Wan
isn't
was
canon.
brothers. Obi and Obi-Wan was brothers for 16 years, and they changed it. And we didn't get mad.
yeah, I don't know.
Anybody who is still hardcore on that Filoni train, I would say pump the brakes and just take a real long look at what's been going on.
Nick says someone send. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that.
Obsession, you dirty broad, you.
Best feelings and thoughts to Star Wars Obsession. I'm glad that he is enjoying the Acolyte. I really, truly am. So,
Everybody
Guild
on
of
YouTube's
Gamers-
going to do what they're going to do, Coach.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The Guild of Gamers, $10. All is not lost if Elon Musk and Gina play their cards right. Amanda's song could be the leverage needed to slap Disney where it hurts, or Disney realizes and gets Amanda fired, ending the Acolyte. Well,
Never going to happen.
No.
the Acolyte's not going to end. They've already finished it. It's coming out, you know. But it is interesting how things are shaping up right now with the song and everything. And with Gina and her court case, who knows what's going to happen. But I will tell you this. I hope we get a lot of live streaming updates during the Gina Carano case, because the internet will be ablaze. Can you guys imagine?
We haven't gotten a verdict whether or not he's going to take the case, have we?
Oh,
we're still waiting.
It's going to court.
It is going to court.
It
Okay,
is
so
going
we
to-
accepted it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So you're talking about. I mean, tonight we're talking about the fandom and the line in the sand. That's not going to make this any better. When Gina Carano is at court, it's going to be bad, and I don't think there's anything we could do to prevent that.
They're not going to offer her a deal, so it don't get that far. Or will she not take it?
Oh, they're going to throw money at her like you wouldn't believe to try to make this thing go
Hopefully
away.
she'll stand.
Oh, yeah.
100%. And that's
But
not,
I think
that's
all this
not an
stuff.
indictment on Disney. That's just any good business would be throwing money at her like crazy to make
What
this go
about
away.
what about a Rangers of the New Republic featuring Gina Carano? Do you think it could happen?
It ain't happening.
No.
I mean, that was supposed
If
to
I was
be
her,
the
I
thing.
wouldn't even take it.
What I really hope happens is if she holds her guns and this does go to court, because all of the emails back and forth with the Lucasfilm executives on this topic will have to be shown in part of discovery. They're going to subpoena all those records, and they're going to say, you can't delete any of that stuff. We want to see everything that was discussed in her firing. And man, there's
I've done
some-
forensics.
That is
I've
the
done forensics
scariest
data
thing
collections.
that Disney
I've done-
has right now.
Yeah.
Is
You-
discovery and subpoenaing anything that went through with that firing is the scariest. That's why I say they're going to throw crazy amounts of money at Gina to make this go away, is because they do not want that out.
But I think also other stuff that's happening in parallel right now with the O'Keefe.
Oh, yeah.
videos that's gonna trigger so much stuff. It's gonna help Gina.
We actually have a super chat about that in just a second. Thank you very much for sending that in. Ministry of Wrong Think with a $9.99 super chat. Forget about the absurdity of choosing not to tell the Jedi Council about murders. What people should be asking is, how the crap does none of the Jedi Council not sense Jedi deaths through the Force?
Yes.
Oh, it's big. Well, they said it in Phantom Menace that they're clouded. That's going to be the argument. I'm sorry.
Yoda should have failed those tests. You know, he's in Tomb. There's so much stuff there.
That's that I didn't even think about that, but man, more and more of that's coming out. Just kind of things that.
Coach, they're standing in the control room watching these people die. There's literally Jedi that are getting taken off the map and turned red like it's the freaking Hunger Games.
Right. I guess their metachlorine count's not high enough.
It must be. Yeah, there you go.
Well, I was told on Twitter we can excuse that because the Jedi didn't know the clones were going to turn on them. So, you know, well, if they're all powerful Jedi, they didn't realize the clones were going to shoot them, then this is okay writing in the Acolyte.
They were chips in their head.
Yeah. And
There's
I was
no
like,
force entity in a chip in somebody's brain.
The Jedi also fought with the clones for how many years? So it probably was something that they never even would have considered happened, and that was the whole genius of Sidious's plan.
Also, Yoda did say the dark side is clouding. He did feel it.
Everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were very overconfident about the Phantom Menace period. So
correct, overconfident, not incompetent.
Oh yeah.
Let's not change that. Sorry.
Gotta keep rolling, boys. Let's go.
Sorry.
Bruno Champagne with a $20 Canadian super chat. I have this feeling we are eventually getting a Jedi who can build a lightsaber with multiple kyber crystals. Thoughts?
That already happened.
Oh, see.
Kiadi Mundi had 2 crystals in his saber.
Kiadi Mundi does everything.
Yeah, Kiadi Mundi had Kiadi Mundi.
He's everywhere.
So Syrians.
I didn't even know his name 2 days ago.
Watch the prequels, son. So Kiadi Mundi
name
has 2 brains. That's why the Syrians are considered like such reasonable people, is because they use these 2 brains. And they found out that they would put 2 crystals in their saber. But actually, to a really good point, Blood Guilty said, guess what? Darth Maul did too.
Awesome.
I didn't even think about that.
All
right. Yeah.
All that prequel
Is
stuff.
Coach keeping up with his super chat so I can get my 65%?
I'm doing the best I can.
I'm going to stop talking.
X-Wing keeps talking, so I can't.
I can't help
myself.
I just need to make sure I get my 65%.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Bruno Champagne. Appreciate that very much, my friend. Showroom Sabers, $1.99. Going to open up tonight for Masters. We're not going to be able to tonight. We're already 2 hours in, but we will be having pop-ins again on Thursday next week. So don't go off too far. We will definitely do it. Nick from Echo Base Network with a $4.99 super chat.
Hello, Nick.
Knee pain. Thoughts on the James O'Keefe leak of Disney not hiring white males? Did you witness any of that culture wallet at Lucasfilm?
No, he don't want to.
Hey, you say whatever you want to say. Like,
who's watching the stream?
It looks like I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
Let's go on private next to that.
Yeah. Let's go have a few drinks out the bar.
Yep. We'll do that. Thank you, Nick, for supporting your channel. Appreciate that very much.
Yep.
Last thing, there you go. In the chat, Jay just let us know the judge has not ruled yet if it's going to go to Discovery or not.
Oh.
So we don't know yet.
See, that's the problem with the internet. Somebody was saying yesterday it's going. Yeah. So, anyways. All right. Michael with $1.99. The scissor witches make the Vespa gang cool. I agree. Thank you very much, sir. Sofa King Jewish has gifted 5 Echo Base Network memberships. So thank you for doing that, brother. Welcome aboard. New members, please give him a thank you. And members, throw up some emojis if you get a chance. We appreciate that. Speaking of gifted memberships, Debbie Young also gives 5 Echo Base Network memberships. So thank you so much, Debbie. And MadCat15 with a $20 super chat. I am in IT. I am a IT in the submarine Navy. I teach IT in a schoolhouse of 136 students, ages 17 to 20. Only 3 said that they watch Star Wars. You know when you're in trouble when the new generation won't watch your show. I totally get it. I've been an educator for 19 years now, going on 20. I've had over 4,000 students in my class. And one thing I've always prided myself on is letting my students get to know me. So I tell them about how nerdy I am. You should see my classroom, guys. There's Star Wars everywhere in there. The
You got any rainbow flags in there?
Got any what?
Rainbow flags.
No, I do not. But anyways, Junkman, I totally lost my train of thought there. Yeah, I agree with you. It's just not resonating with the younger generation. Not from my point of view. But thank you so much for sending that in, man. We appreciate that very much, that generous $20 super chat. Greg E. with a $2 super chat. The loony left has no answers, only accusations. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. Drunk 3PO.
Hey, Drunk.
Jay
Drunk.
with a $5 super chat. Knee Pain. Knee Pain, who is your favorite member of Geeks and Gamers?
Well, I guess it's going to define my future with Geeks and Gamers right here. I probably Jeremy, just because I watched his solo stuff for a long time, so I'm just getting now to know the rest of you. And at first I started watching Ryan for a while. Like Ryan, like it was just his streams. Like he does this kind of bounce when he's talking, and I was
His
like,
head moves. Yeah.
I love it. It doesn't bother me in small screen, but I can't watch the other stuff. I get motion sick. No, but he's fun to listen to. I just can't watch the screen. No, I watched y'all tonight on FNT, and it was a great time. But I've been watching Jeremy, but I'm watching you all now. So
they're the perfect mixture of personalities. They really are.
Yeah.
So thank you, Drunk 3PO. We appreciate that, brother. Philip Connell, $5 super chat. Binged Clone Wars with my daughter during the flu. Saber fights in the yard was awesome. I'll never forget. She was Obi-Wan, Leia by her own choice for Halloween. That is awesome. Star Wars used to be a family thing. It really was. You know, I had some of my most precious moments with my mother with Star Wars. I remember my mother watching Shmi die for the first time, and I cried sitting next to my mother as she watched Shmi die. You know, just, it's amazing. And my parents are gone now, but I'll always have those memories, I hope, of us watching Star Wars together. It was a familial event. LBC Robbie with a $5 super chat. She is trying to create buzz, clicks from the start. Can't believe you all don't see that. I'm not sure what we're talking about there.
Maybe Leslie Headland. She's trying to create clicks and a buzz from the start.
Yeah. Probably so. Yep.
Part of the press tour.
And I think I would agree with that. But thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Sean Living Life is our newest member. Welcome aboard, sir. Thank you so much for joining EBN. We appreciate it, my man. Felix Quiros. Felix, you didn't have to do that. Gifted 5 Echo Base Network memberships. Felix, thank you so much. Welcome aboard to the new people. Hell in a Handbasket, $5. The Matrix was also a guy's big movie, heart-wise. And they killed the strong woman from it in 4 minutes. We are the target. Okay.
She's got a mask on with a zipper on it, so she's not dead.
Yeah.
I said that.
You think that's Carrie Ann Moss?
I said that on episode 1.
You're not even watching it.
I didn't even watch it. I watched a review of it, and I said, that's obvious, because that's the first one.
It's the shopkeeper dude. It's the shopkeeper dude. I'm telling you right now.
We are talking about bad.
It's the guy that did the poison.
Yeah, but that's too obvious. But we are talking
the
about
shopkeeper guy.
Yeah.
So we're not dealing with very deep writing here.
Yeah,
do you remember the scene when she walks out of the store and they have a brief confrontation, and all of a sudden he is effing like Ip Man and just annihilates her, and then they get off the ship and he like trips over a crate and he's like, "Oh, I'm so stupid."
I thought they
were they're playing the drunken master. You know, the drunk master. That's
Please don't compare that to Jackie Chan at all. Ever.
Actually, you know what they're doing is they're pulling the Empire Strikes Back, where Yoda was pretending to be this little creature. Stop it! And then suddenly switch, and then boom.
I cannot train him.
You can't kill.
We subverted your expectations.
Yep.
He said you can't kill a Jedi with darts or something, right? But she killed a Jedi with darts, unless she didn't kill the Jedi.
So the goal was you cannot kill a Jedi with a weapon, because steel nor laser can kill a Jedi. And literally 15 minutes before that speech, she threw a freaking steel blade into a Jedi's chest and killed her. I'm like, bro, can we do a little bit of revision on the script?
I have a thing on that, but after all the super chats, I'll I'll touch on
Oh
that.
no, go ahead. It's a good time.
I don't think it's that literal. My feeling is that it's destroy the Jedi belief, destroy the idea of the Jedi, and you do that without a weapon. That's my prediction. That's my thought.
Makes sense.
I could be completely wrong, but that's what I think they mean.
You're thinking way too deep, MatCave. You're thinking way too deep, bro.
So they tried to amend it in the last episode where she's talking about how killing a Jedi without a weapon would be a defenseless Jedi. That's also the possibility that you have to kill a Jedi where he's unarmed. And how would you do, she's like, it's impossible. How would you, because how do you separate a Jedi from his lightsaber? Because remember in the previous episode, she kept on going for the lightsaber to take the lightsaber so that they would be defenseless. Yeah. So it's supposed to be this whole thing of, the Jedi would never strike down a defenseless person. So you need to be the antithesis of that and be the person to strike down the unarmed person. But it's all convoluted. They're trying to be quirky, and it's just really bad writing.
But if I could distill that, John, what just happened between Matt, you, me, everything, that's what Star Wars should be. These are the streams we should be having. That's the conversation I want to have around this kind of stuff. But unfortunately, there's so many glaring speed bumps in everything that's occurred since the beginning of the Acolyte. We're not free to do so because we're like,
well, unfortunately, we had 3 hours
from the rooftops.
And I'm only speaking for myself, but I had 3 hours of downtime yesterday, and I was like, what can I do? Maybe I should really rewatch the Acolyte episodes and try to really pay attention and dig into it and not just sit there and be mesmerized by not liking it, because that's kind of where I am when I watch it.
100%.
And I couldn't make myself do it, guys. And I hate that.
Do it. Yeah. I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Payne inspired me. He said, I want to watch some of your videos. And what's so funny is, like the Jedi, I've been so clouded for so long that it's at this point, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you guys. At this point, it's essentially like it's just rage. All of my videos are just rage. There's not, I mean, there's
my thumbnails are rage, but I'm not rage.
My thumbnails aren't rage, but my videos are rage. There's substance to them, but I really Payne inspired me. Now that I've basically let go of Star Wars, why don't I actually critique it now? Now that my heart's not in it, I have the ability to be intellectual. Because my heart's been removed, I have the ability to be intellectual. Payne, you inspired me.
I just want to say that this type of conversation here is what you used to have old comic shops. You get all the people walking around. You can have different opinions, but you just
Magic the Gathering every Thursday night.
Yeah. This is really good.
I agree. There's
no female custodies.
This feels like old times.
My 40K boys.
Coach is still trying to bribe me into watching it, and he's like, "Just maybe you contribute more." I was like, "I thought we were going to be friends." I know.
Have you not watched the Acolyte yet?
No, I have not. Since I've really stayed away from all the series, so every time something new comes up, and then I kind of just go on YouTube, what are people saying? Because I was looking for that series that just was blowing everyone's mind. This is amazing. This is real Star Wars. And then I get on and I listen, not just people saying this sucks, people saying this is why, and they have a 2-hour dissertation on why they don't like it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I don't think I'd like that either. I'm not going to subscribe.
That's fair.
You got to give Andor a chance.
And what a blessed life!
I keep hearing that. I keep
Andor.
You wake up.
Andor.
I just imagine Payne. You wake up in the morning with your cup of coffee, and the grass just smells better. The sun looks beautiful. And meanwhile, I'm just
you did like the Luke Skywalker video that you saw, though. You did like that.
I started tearing up. Actually, I remember being that kind of excited fan at one point.
That's what Star Wars
and I just
does
wondered
when it's done.
What
well.
happened.
Yep.
I thought you were gonna bring me on, when I was wiping tears on my eyes, oh hey, it's Payne.
Allergies are crazy out here.
Oh, thank you. All right, race to the bottom to $10. I want to ask Nee if he thinks it is a form of layering to move monies into political PACs.
I have no clue.
I don't either, brother. I'm not sure.
I wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
You want to hear Okay, I'm shutting up after this one.
I
This is the last
I
one.
doubt it.
I doubt it.
I swear to Bob, this is the last one.
These people have been waiting for their super chat to be read. It's Xwing's fault, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead.
He ought to get his
invited
own
me on the
YouTube
show.
channel.
You invited me on the show.
I know.
And what's funny is I never talk about any of this on my own channel. I'm just like black lesbians in space. So the craziest thing I've heard is that what I've heard, I can't back this up with fact, but this is just a really interesting, fun story to think about, was that Bob Iger was actually paid a large sum of money from Apple at an undisclosed time some years ago. Okay. Now, if you were going to acquire a company, what would you do? You would take that company and you would drive the stock price of that company into the ground so that whoever was going to buy the company would buy it at a cheaper cost. Now, we all know that Apple has enough money in their pocket right now to buy Disney with no qualms. Apple can literally buy Disney with pocket change. I'm talking liquid assets. I mean, they can pull the money out of their pocket and buy Disney. But how would you take a company like Disney and bring it down, at least Lucasfilm, let's not call it Disney, Lucasfilm, drive it down to the point where you could buy it? What do? Tank it into the ground so it's easier to buy. If you were going to buy it at 2.5 billion, wouldn't you rather buy it at 1.5 and then pay Bob Iger 500 million? And then he just wakes up in the morning, brushes his teeth and goes, I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
If that ever got out though, man, that would be
If it ever got out. And John,
Yeah.
when I tell you that they will literally take people to the grave to make sure that information doesn't come out. Look, it's a conspiracy theory. I love it. It's just fun to entertain those ideas. Do I think that's really happening? Could be. You never know.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, brother, for sharing that.
I'm going to shut up.
PG's Projects $9.99 for the first show set in the High Republic era. Why are we seeing a story about exiled witches? Why not a story with the Republic at the center? It's like House of the Dragon that's not about the Targaryens.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's when Star Wars, when I saw witches, I saw zombies, I saw a man with a gold face, I saw some whales flying in space going to another galaxy, and that's when I said, I don't even care anymore.
It's different, man.
I've not ever seen anything like that in Star Wars. It's all in one show, and I said, I'm done.
I mean, you say it like that. Ooh. I mean, you're not wrong.
For somebody that don't watch the Clone Wars, the Rebels too, it really just threw me. I was like,
You are not a fan of Star Wars animation.
I don't like the look of the Clone Wars. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't like that. It's just,
It's all good. Don't apologize.
Yeah.
But I hadn't given it a chance.
Yeah.
I hear it's a really good story. I just don't like that computer animation.
It originally, so it took a while to even grow on me, honestly. And I just got in the story and just focused on that.
Yeah, I've heard the story really good.
So for the people who got here late, Payne, the gentleman to my right, the man in the middle. I'm so confused. He worked on Clone Wars. He worked on Rebels. He worked for Lucasfilm in VFX. So you're saying that it took a little while for it to work for you as well, the look of it. I think a lot of people felt that way about the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And then Rebels comes out and it's even more different. The earlier Clone Wars, that series had a way worse look.
I liked it. That little mini one, that little 15.
Oh, the 2D animation one.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the
that one looked like a cartoon. That's what I liked about it.
I remember watching that as a web series on StarWars.com in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. It was the lead up, and every week we got the new 5-minute little Clone Wars. It was a lot of fun. Actually, I have a question for Payne regarding the animation side of Clone Wars.
Somebody about this one, comb.
I wasn't sure what years of it that you did work on it, but something I always noticed and always appreciated in Clone Wars was the change in the animation. I think it was from season 2 to season 3. The tone got darker and the animation got smoother. And I've always loved seeing that because I rewatched that series fairly often. And that's one of my favorite things is seeing the tone of the show change, not only in like emotionally and storyline, but literally the look. And I was curious, was there some sort of like a intentional push in that direction?
I can't say for sure. I say the fun thing about working on episodics versus a feature is a feature you have to develop and sell everything the characters in that 1 hour and a half or 2 hours. And what I liked about episodics, you had a chance to really refine and build on as long as you didn't get canceled. And so you had that opportunity in the episodic to see the characters grow and become something else. And even the style, like how you produce everything, improve. So that was always, I think, fun to see is just like we could improve next season upon season. We got bigger budget, more tools, and we understood our pipeline and workflow better.
So I have
Did
a
you
question.
work on the Clone Wars?
Where have you been?
So here's the deal. I don't actually know Knee Payne's depth and breadth of work. Nobody's told me.
I've said it 4 times since you've been here.
You get hella. That's because you're talking to.
You were like, hey, you worked at Lucasfilm, and then the only thing Knee Payne has said tonight, it was like, hey, I put code on the screen, and this is,
No. Yeah. Yes, the man is a VFX artist that worked from Lucasfilm from 2010 to 2019. He was there through the transition. He worked on Clone Wars, he worked on Rebels, and he worked on other things. But I have a question for him right now, and then Xwing, I'm sure, is going to ask you something. I love you,
100%.
Xwing. Okay. So, Knee Payne, you talked about this the other night, but for people who were not here, they're going to want to know because this is something that the outsider, like all of us except you, likes to know and hear about and wonder. So someone who worked there for a living, how involved would you say, from your perspective, Lucas was in the early years of Clone Wars?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, he was involved. I mean, never in the reviews, right? I would never read the notes, but, right, George came by. George drove it. That was George's project. I mean, everything was. Yeah, he was heavily involved. I mean, this is projects. That's what he loved to do. That's why he kept us all up at the Skywalker Ranch, so we're nearby.
Yeah. All right, Xwing.
Why did you make the lightsaber skinny? Whose direction was it to change the lightsabers and make them pencil lightsabers?
Never even noticed.
Actually, we made up for that in Acolyte.
I've been waiting 33 years.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
We haven't gotten the lightsaber whip yet. Remember that's coming.
I saw one.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, if I was going to ask anybody, because I think that was, there was this different, in the time between 1983 and 1999, there was actually, they call it the dark times, but it was the golden age of Star Wars for me with all the books that they came out. There was so many cool different things that they did. And then between 2005 and then, the release of the Clone Wars, I was actually, believe it or not, I was a kid. I didn't like the Clone Wars show, even though I was a kid. Take that as you will, but I always thought Star Wars deserved a little bit more of like a serious tone, and I think it's because my formative experience of Star Wars was Revenge of the Sith, and I'm like, this is Shakespeare, this is Hamlet, this is how Star Wars should be handled. And
when I came out of the theater was the 2008 Clone Wars movie they released, and I was like, oh, they're doing. I went and I kind of walked out like, I don't like the Snips character.
Did you have a hand in that movie, by the way?
No, that was no.
Okay. Oh, good.
No,
I don't have to
before
defend you. I was not a fan of that.
No,
movie.
you wouldn't. I wasn't.
I was not.
I was just like, and then later I heard it was like, oh, they're doing a TV series, and even then I still wasn't into it. The idea, because I was like, I wasn't in the movie. No, I didn't know what to expect. Right, it was like, hit Star Wars. I'm gonna go watch it because that's the kind of fan I am. Even though I would have rather had a live action, but I was like, at that point, I was like, I'll take anything at Star Wars. And when the theater came out an hour and a half later, it's kind of like, went over to Applebee's. There's like an Applebee's nearby. I just went over and just ordered a drink and just sat there for a while. Like,
all right.
My question would be because it was in that time. So now we're in the, what some people would call the second golden age Lucasfilm, right? We're getting the Clone Wars. We're still getting stuff nowhere near as good as the expanded universe era, but we're getting the second age, the golden age of Lucasfilm. What was
Which
the culture like at the
77 to
company?
83.
Can you not?
Yeah. And the real dark age is between 83 and 93. That's the dark age.
So now we're between 2005 and then when did Force Awakens come out? Was
15. 12. 15.
15?
15.
15? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're 05 to 15, which is, a portion of where you operated. The culture at Lucasfilm, do you feel like it was inherently the word is not religious. I mean, what did you feel about Lucas's works compared to trying to take a turn and do something new? Was there like it was a 50-50, like, we have to stay in the Skywalker era compared
That's
to
a good question.
let's do something else? I mean, was there any kind of discussion in a boardroom about let's make new stories or okay.
So
yeah, that would have been a very, very small group of people if that happened.
Do you know who would have been in that group?
Lucas,
Filoni,
definitely George.
Yeah, George. I mean, he was at least a part of the conversation at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been a small group, and honestly, I don't think anyone, if that did go on, no one.
So
really
follow-up
known who
question
was
to
there.
that, Payne.
Yeah.
Could you feel any difference at all on working on Star Wars project, especially Clone Wars, as you worked on Clone Wars before and after the sale to Disney? Was there any difference at all, or did you not even notice?
I think that was the question I was looking for.
Yeah,
I'm making it simple.
Well, there
for
was
you, yes.
there was really actually
Thanks,
no
Coach.
Clone Wars after Disney, so I couldn't really compare Clone Wars before and after Disney because Disney canceled it. Right?
No, well, but they brought it back.
But I was leaving actually as they were
Gotcha.
bringing that back online when they said, "Hey, we're going to bring this back," and I was actually 1 foot out the door, 1.5 feet out the door.
Right.
I mean, a lot of things changed. I mean, the layoffs, right? We went from a bigger crew to a much smaller crew. So, like at one point, you were going to think about like the creative side of it. You're just thinking, how do I still do this, but with far less people? And I mean, far less people, far less budget. And it's called like everything changed. We got moved out of the ranch. Everyone got moved to San Francisco. So suddenly I went from a 15-20 minute drive down a nice country road to a god awful drive down to San Francisco every single day, screaming at other
Did
drivers.
they tell you why they made the change?
Well, I mean, it was just because Skywalker Properties, the change in the facilities location. You mean?
Yeah.
Well, Skywalker Properties is George. He owns that, and that's his property. They kind of want to consolidate everyone in one building. And after the downsize too, I mean, after they laid off everyone, there was like no point in keeping a small group of people in that large, pretty empty building. So that's what I'm guessing. It just, hey, they're a much smaller team. Let's just bring them all down. Make room for them on the floors down in San Francisco. There's some room to spare after the layoffs and restructuring.
That's
I'm just going to let everybody in the chat know that in the private chat here on the stream between the people that you see on the panel, Junkman asks Xwing, "Hey Xwing, did you know that this knee guy worked for Lucasfilm on the Clone Wars?" So that was 5 minutes ago. Thank you, Junkman.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I
knew that knee worked for Lucasfilm. That again, I don't know
thought he was
why
a chauffeur?
anybody didn't listen. I didn't know the depth and breadth of his work with Lucasfilm.
You thought he was a janitor?
You have to realize
at Skywalker Ranch?
you could have somebody roll up and be like, "Bro, I worked at Lucas Ranch. Like, what'd you do? I cleaned the toilets." You never know.
Yeah, and I used to tell some people that.
Yeah,
I used to tell some people that, so I wouldn't get bugged too many questions.
I would have still bugged you.
But that's the fun part about conversation is you get to ask.
Can you really eat off the bathroom floor?
Yeah.
Junkman.
I think the funny thing though, people find out where you work, no matter what was Lucas, Pixar, DreamWorks, whatever. The first thing they go to, like, oh wow, you're an artist. And it's granted there's a lot of artists, but there's a lot of other people. There's technical artists, software engineers, pipeline, IT. John knows, right? There's multiple layers of people that have to make this happen, and sometimes we would fill different roles too. So some of us, I've done creative stuff. I've done some shop work. Most of my work, I was mostly around the technical side. I wanted to be a character animator. Originally, that was my motivation, but it turns out wasn't that good at animation. 2, animation's very clicky, which I understand. Their demand is very high. And
theater kids.
Yeah. And then what I found out, so if any tip I can give to kids who still want to get in after I've completely dogged out the industry on my channel, a couple of videos, it is easier to get into the entertainment industry as a half-assed technical person, software engineer, IT type, than a good artist. Because there are lots of good artists, very competitive. Most really good tech people aren't going to entertainment; they're going to Google or Facebook and making $300-400K a year.
Right, coding is an
if you
art
can
that
code,
nobody's paying attention to.
Nobody wants to do it. A lot of people don't want to code. So if you're willing to write code, you don't have to really be that good. As long as you love film, you have a semi-creative side, and you can slap together some scripts. You don't want to.
Okay.
No,
I'm a wrench layer, dude. I fix stuff with like a wrench and a hammer.
I had some videos where I kind of dogged the industry as a whole is just kind of a really damaged place. The bigger as I got out of it. So, a lot of kids ask me how to get in. It's like, learn to code. It's like, I don't like code. It's like, I tell them, I hate coding. I've always hated coding. I loved solving problems. You gave me a scene in 3D, like we had to fix this, we had to figure that out. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna write some code. No, I hated doing it. What I loved was getting to the end to get that shot done,
dude,
and have that the VFX super on my shoulder. And like, how did you figure that out? And be able to show my teammates, this is how I figured it out. They're just like, wow, that script is horrendous, but you figured it out. That's pretty awesome. Because
so it wasn't about a channel we can subscribe to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really. It's random stuff, completely random stuff. It's Knee Pain, my name.
Xwing, I would like to welcome you to Echo Base Network. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. I thought
it's
you were
crazy.
like a member.
I'll link in chat.
I'll link in chat. I pulled up Knee Pain, and all of a sudden I got a bunch of WebMD stuff. I was just looking for knee.
All right.
Can I circle back to something that Knee Pain said before? And I picked up from the production standpoint. You said that when Disney bought you guys, they laid off a ton of people, downsized, and at the same time,
it was all over the news. Yeah.
But they also wanted to output as much Star Wars as possible. So in that time period, they're saying we got to put as much Star Wars out there as possible, but they cut down on the production teams to do it. And we're always sitting here on all these channels saying, what is happening over there? There's something missing. Like, how do they miss this thing? How does the fans pick up on this? And I'm wondering if that is the answer right there, is that they cut their staff and they started demanding so much from the people working there, grinding them. And that's why we're getting all of these just mistakes. And how did you miss that? And who didn't clear this? That's interesting you said that.
It's all over the place. I mean, I had friends, I've worked on a lot of Marvel productions, and this one thing that started driving me nuts was they'd be on the sequel of whatever, Marvel production. And like, oh, you're starting on the second one or the third one? Like, yeah. And it was like, how's that going? It's like, well, we have 20% more shots. We have 20% less TDs working on it. And we have actually less time to work on it. I was like, that math. And he's like, oh, we're already in week 3. We're already on mandatory 65, 70-hour a week overtime. I was like, wait, that used to happen at the end of production. That was the crunch time at the end. Like, these shows, and this is happening all over the industry. It's one of the things that really pissed me off of this industry is they started crunching these artists really hard. Everyone I knew, DNEG, Weta Digital, this crap is happening everywhere. People were starting on crunch time in shows, starting at 65, 70-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks, sleeping on their desks. You weren't supposed to start like that. That was for the end. That was like the badge of honor when the whole crew got together that last 1 or 2 months. They got those changes, went out. We had some pizza parties, but at the end, we all did it. It went out. We were real happy. We had a huge rap party. We got really drunk, and some of us got in trouble. That's what it used to be about. And no, it's just like this piss poor planning, these tight budgets, and then they take artists to try to save money, and they you're an artist for 2 or 3 years or effects TD, and they're like, we're going to make you a senior because you're really good. Oh, cool, I'm a senior. Oh, guess what? It means you're also salary. You're not getting overtime anymore.
Mm-hmm. There you have it, guys. How did Lucasfilm have no plan with the sequel trilogy?
Yeah,
answered it right there.
So that's everybody,
that's the whole industry. It's a whole business model, the whole industry. It's disgusting.
Everybody go subscribe to knee pain and Xwing break out the knee pads.
Shut the fuck
Giggity.
So, all right, look, we all have moments in our careers that we're like, that's, as a basketball coach, I coached a team one year that defeated 2 number 1 ranked teams in the same day at a tournament. As a content creator, we made a Luke Skywalker video with over 2 million views, and we gained 12,000 subs to the channel in a week. Nice. Knee pain. What's the one moment, the one thing you worked on with Clone Wars where you're like, that's my favorite moment. That's what I did that meant the most for me or most fulfilling.
Or Rebels.
Rebels was probably, I'd say Rebels, because that was more personal because I was such a smaller crew, and I was there in the beginning, right to the end. 5 years, 4 seasons. As sad as it was, the Kanan death scene, one knowing it's coming up.
Yes, I was hoping you were going to say that. Sorry.
Let the man talk.
So one thing here's the thing is when I first came in, my mentor, they worked on Monsters Inc. And that was one of my inspirations, like movies I love, and I still love the original Monsters Inc. And how the shift in the story. And she was like, she goes, but we saw the iterations change so much in the original story that by the time it came out, it wasn't a surprise. It kind of ruins it for you. So it's like, I wish I kind of had the excitement, but I still felt like the emotion, like watching that scene build up when they talk about it, realizing, okay, really need to be quiet about this. This is going to be huge. But even then, that's one of the few episodes you actually watch build up as far as the story when it comes to, animation, lighting, they start refining it. And even by the time you get to the final lighting and you're like reviewing the final shots, you still really felt like, when Kanan's eyes changed, you came back and all that, it was just like the fans and watching the fan reactions. I'd say that's one of the times where I didn't watch a lot of fan reactions, but that was one that I watched and I did feel a little choked up because one was feeling like we really gave the fans what they wanted. I'm not that they wanted Kanan to die, right? But that's part of Star Wars. Sometimes the people most important to you, like Obi-Wan, they make a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And
the heaviness of it, the reality of it.
To be able to connect. And I think the work we did on that to be able to bring the emotion, because here's the thing, a lot of animated characters, I don't feel emotion out of them a lot of time, and that was like seeing you actually felt emotion. So I feel like we did something right that actually drew out emotion when there weren't real people on the screen.
Yeah,
I'm not talking right now. Believe me, I want to scream at the rooftops. I'm not talking right now.
They're giving you a hard time because they love
series.
They're giving you a hard time because they love you. It was.
I love that you brought up that scene too, because the 2 most emotional scenes for me in Rebels involved Kanan. Kanan was my favorite character in that show, and the 2 moments were when he revealed himself as a Jedi in front of the Imperial, like that moment, and the stuff comes together, and he takes out the lightsaber for the first time. I have chills now just remembering it, and then that moment, his death, all coming together, and just I was like, wow. I'm like, how did this show just hit so hard like that? It was so good.
That scene where he revealed himself as a Jedi, I loved it too. I felt that when I first realized, 'cause I thought we were doing a non-Jedi show originally, and that came out, and I was like, oh, we're actually doing this. But I think the one that made me mad was that was actually shown in the trailer, because I didn't. When I saw the trailer,
I never saw that.
Yeah, they put it in the trailer. I'm like, why'd you put that? That should have not been in the trailer. Is this your first time cutting a trailer? You don't give away the secrets. But that's Hollywood's thing now. They give away all the good stuff in the movie, and it's like, why watch it? You already know what's about.
Hey, we're talking toys. We're talking cartoons. Look at Junkman's face.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wait.
I don't even know where he is right now.
Yeah.
What the hell is Rebels?
Yeah, Power Master Optimus Prime.
For my friends who don't like cartoons, I just try to tell them, sit down and watch it as if you're watching the storyboards of a movie, because that's all they are.
Yeah.
That's what it is. As a cartoon is a storyboard for a movie. If you look at it in that sense, it helps out.
So I think this would be fun. Let's all give Knee Pain our favorite Rebels moment, and just see what he has to say about that moment as somebody that worked on the show. I'll start us off since it was my idea to give y'all a chance to think. So my favorite moment, Knee Pain, is Vader versus Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they brought back Vader was just like. So I told you, Coach. I grew up in a town nearby where James Earl Jones grew up in, a little town, Michigan. Like he was the nearby town, and I also grew up with a stuttering problem, like James Earl Jones, and used to get mocked in school for it. So I always felt like a connection to James Earl Jones, and then had thought like that one time where. It's the only thing we're ever going to connect on was those episodes, because I consider that man a legend, just outside of Darth Vader.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Go ahead, Felix. You're next.
So for me, what's the concept of the world between worlds? That put me into the I got into like a different stage there. That was pretty cool to me.
So how much talk was there, with your team when you guys introduced the world between worlds? Because we had never seen anything like that before.
So at that point, I was really busy. I'm like in my role, and I kind of checked out from the creative side just because from the engineering standpoint, like I was trying to like build the show so we could scale up and support. We're trying to like make the show bigger, right? More worlds. And there's a point where I had stepped away from the creative side. Like I told you, I did some shots on the first season, a little bit on the second season. I used to help the VFX group like prepare scenes, like how we're going to figure out how we're going to do scenes efficiently, and then send the sample scenes over to our vendor studios. Show them how you can kind of do things. And about halfway through the second season, I just got to a point where it was way too much work. Like I had one monitor had Maya open where I was doing 3D, and the other monitor I was doing code, and I was going back and forth. I was just working. I was never like stepping away for lunch. At one point, it's like I had to make a choice. Like, listen, I love the creative work that we're doing, but at some point, someone needs to commit to making sure the back end of the show runs. The render farm, the servers, the systems, all that. And so I just doubled down on the part to support the show. So when things started coming up, like the universes, things like that, when all that started coming up, I honestly really was out of tune until I would, on occasion, just as a break, I would go to tech reviews, which was I think I mentioned in the last show, is you would go into the little mini theater and they would just pull up shots and you just look for problems. There was no audio. You weren't watching the episode. They weren't always in order. You're just looking for technical problems, lighting, geometry, intersection, anything that wasn't supposed to be there. Because, right, as you said, sometimes the artists are working on things, they're going to make mistakes. So you need a second eye to review things and send back notes. And so I'd go back and I'd see some of these shots, not knowing what was going on in the script, like, all right, I'm along for the ride right now. So I said, like, that part I really wasn't too keen on. And then as far as what was going on, so I was a little bit lost until like it aired, and I just kind of went with it. When it came out, I was like, oh, I didn't know you were all doing this. So I think I told you at one point, I kind of like not being too close to the story, because every now and then you hear about a leak that happened. And it was like, oh, like I got really drunk with some friends last weekend at a barbecue. Did I say something and someone recorded me and put it online? And then I found out what the leak was, and I was like, oh, I didn't know about that. So not me. I'm not in trouble.
I got to agree with Felix. I think the world between worlds, like I loved Rebels. It's one of my favorite parts of Star Wars. Just everything expanding, Clone Wars, Ahsoka, Thrawn. I mean, it's everything I've always just loved about Star Wars. But when they came out with the world between worlds in the final season, it was such like a bold move in the story. And we've talked about this before. I view Star Wars as 3 tiers of storytelling. We have our base tier, which is the grinding of the Empire and the Rebels and the battle between non-Force using people. And then we have our stories of the Force users. And that's where you get your Jedi stories. But then the final tier is the metaphysical Force. And only a select few, Sidious, Yoda, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, have been able to touch that level of just higher celestial beings. And I just thought in the Rebels storyline to go there and have this world between worlds was just like, and Sidious wants it. And it's like, oh yeah, if he gets a hold of this thing, the whole universe could just be tossed upside down. But it was special. It was a special moment.
There was one of those moments where I realized how far we came from the first season. I mean, it was nothing like the first season. And I was like, wow, that's why I was proud of that work, is we went really far, and we ended the show the way we wanted to end the show. We got the 4 seasons that we wanted, and we'll tell the story.
And those those final 4 episodes, I mean, you can just stitch that together as its own movie. The final battle with Thrawn, I mean, you forget to breathe when you're just watching that back to back. It's just like, whoa. And the way the characters were just standing there stunned when, the Star Destroyers take off, you're just sitting there like, holy cow, wow. And you kind of lose yourself in that,
All right. Any other Rebels moments you guys want to run by Payne real quick?
You want to stay away from me, don't you? You're like, don't talk to that
guy. Oh, God. I'll be back in 30 minutes.
No, I won't be long. I won't be long. Ask my wife. So
you do know you work for
Wow.
No, just a quick one. I did like I liked Rebels a lot because I feel like it actually took the time to tell a story. That's why I liked Rebels. And that's something that, regardless of whatever goes on in Rebels, there's stuff that I didn't like, bringing essentially Force wolves into the story. That is the 6th grader dream of somebody who loves Star Wars that was big into wolves when he was a kid. That has been pervasive through Filoni's entire storytelling career as a creator. So don't get it twisted. 100%. It's a Dave Filoni story. I get that. But beyond that, there are moments in there that really do. I mean, you feel the storytelling. You really do. And Payne, when you said that Kanan moment when he sacrifices himself, for me, that's as important as the chapter 16 moment. That's as important as, so many different moments in Star Wars where you see a Jedi who is selfless. You see a Jedi who truly believes in the good in the universe, that gives himself to death for what he believes in. That kind of stuff for me, I don't care what kind of storytelling you're doing. If you can bring those themes in, I love it. I love it to death. I wish more storytellers in Star Wars would do those kinds of things. But it's tough these days. So for all of its faults, I love Rebels.
Thank you. I'm glad you did. I'm really glad that
All right,
hear people get something loved. So
yeah, absolutely. We're gonna roll through some more super chats. Michael, Splinters of the Butthole, a Disney Star Wars story.
Ouch.
Thank you. Rick Johnson,
image.
$5.
Wow, Rick Johnson.
Hail, Junkman. Where's your better half, Russ?
Every other week. He's got a wife.
I didn't bring up helicopter sabers because that's still, I have PTSD to this day from helicopter sabers.
Not a fan either. Look, we're sitting here going through the super chats, and he is still on Rebels. He's like, Payne's here. I'm excited too, Xwing. I'm excited too. Okay. All right. Race to the bottom from Disney's human rights policy. UN is mentioned along with ILO that are very big on SDGs. I have no idea what we're talking about right now.
There are so many
acronyms,
3-letter acronyms here.
Anybody?
From Disney's human rights policy, United Nations is mentioned along with integral loving optimism that are very big on doggy
race
dick
to the bottom. Thank you, brother. Let us know in the regular chat where you're going with that, and we will address it, my friend. Thank you.
I don't know what that is.
Sean Living Life, one of our newest members. Thank you, sir, with a $5 super chat. Hey, guys, the one good thing about the Acolyte is that I found this channel this week. Return of the Jedi is my number one. Not going to lie, I miss the EU. Thank you, brother. Thank you for saying that. I needed that. I needed that.
That was nice.
Yep. Thank you so much.
But I miss the original EU that they killed in the 80s, and no one cares but me.
That's not true.
Okay.
No one cares but you, Junkman. You are the one person.
They killed. I love the EU in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then these millennials like Xwing come along and gets all excited about the new stuff.
Well, Sean, thank you very much for sending that in. And we got a great community of people here, EBN family. So thank you, sir. Star Wars Timeline with a $5 super chat. 87 fan. I saw the prequels in New York City's theaters. The hype was palpable. Actor directing and OT inconsistencies turned me off. I warmed up to the prequel trilogy over the years. I've said it time and time again. I was not a fan, even though I liked Revenge of the Sith and a lot of the Attack of the Clones as well, like the second half of it. And Duel of the Fates was awesome. I know I'm sounding like a prequel fan. It was a miss for me overall, but and Knee Pain's never heard me say this. When I was convinced to go through the Clone Wars and then go through Rebels, I looked at the prequel trilogy with a completely different lens, and I found an appreciation for them, and I love them. I don't love anything like I love the original trilogy, but I do love the prequels for what they are. And George Lucas being involved. Knee Pain, you were part of creating something that made me change how I view the prequels, and now I like it. So thank you, sir.
Do you like
Anybody
Jar Jar
else
Binks?
want to say anything about that?
You like Jar Jar Binks now?
No, but he is more tolerable.
He is more tolerable, and if anything,
Well, yeah. Now that we got witches screaming and hollering,
Yeah.
I'll take Jar Jar over that any day.
Yep. Knee Pain, you were saying?
I have a ton of respect for Ahmed Best.
Yeah,
He went
I
through.
agree.
No, me
Loads
neither.
of respect. Yeah.
Yep. And and shame on anybody that attacked him for whatever reason. Not worth attacking any of those actors. Be mad at the writer, the director, the creator, not the actor. Now, if an actor comes out with a music video calling me a silly racist, that's a whole nother problem.
And if there was somebody who actually probably had good grounds to fire back, I think it would have been Ahmed Best. I think that speaks to his character, is that he didn't. It tore him to pieces internally. He talked about being, suicidal and all that, but he never fired back. And he would have had a right to fire back, and he didn't. And that's why I really respect that man.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for all your super chats. We're still going through them. And thank you, Star Wars Timeline, for sending that one in. As a Bay with a $1.99 super chat, I always tell people, look on IMDb. Filoni did Jack.
Yeah, he's actually only credited with, I think, 3 episodes.
Not too much with Clone Wars.
Of Clone Wars? From a writer standpoint.
Yeah.
I could be totally mistaken, but I think it's only 3 episodes of Clone Wars.
Yep. All right. Well,
I would say
thank you for sending that in.
take IMDb with a grain of salt. I know a lot of people have worked on a lot of
100%.
stuff. That's not, yes.
It's
just
Wikipedia.
Yeah, basically. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
People can pay money to alter the website, if I'm not mistaken.
Brandon, the anime guy, with a member chat. The DIC Nuts Corp is now in the crosshairs. Get to Discovery. I hope she never comes back down. Money is worthless in this case. Hashtag Duck Fisney. Thank you, Brandon, the anime guy. Lauren Ipsum with a $2 super chat. BlackRock is behind Disney's attack on culture. I know a lot of people agree with that. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that very much. It's definitely a problem.
Not a person, though. It's just a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon, the anime guy, $5 super chat. Hashtag Duck Fisney. Felony Filoni needs to be tossed out. The airlock Clone Wars is trash. Vader. Oh, thank you, Brandon.
Coach, do you believe in Filoni? Does anybody on this panel think Filoni's the one that's going to do it?
You asked me,
Brandon.
So here, go ahead.
I would say, Brandon, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Really tell us how you feel.
Welcome.
Stop holding back.
Welcome to our family. This is how we do it. So, who asked that question?
Really?
What did you look? I'm like,
9 Bahama Mamas.
Yeah, no, that was more like 29.
So my question was, as this stuff was starting to come out with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau in the early days of what we called the hope period, right, of the Disney Star Wars franchise, I had always said Favreau is the guy who's going to be able to do this.
Yeah,
it's not going to be Filoni, I promise. And the reason why I said that is because Filoni touted himself as the prophet of George Lucas, and I'm like, if you're doing that, it means you're probably not. So, as it came out, we look at Mandalorian season 1 and 2, which was the Iron Man of the Star Wars universe. That's what I call it. It was the Iron Man 1 of the Star Wars universe, trying to create the Star Wars cinematic universe like they did with the MCU. that was the idea, at least from my mind. That's what Disney was trying to do. They were trying to create the Star Wars cinematic universe. Who do we bring in? Well, who kicked off the last one? Bring in Favreau. And I think he did a really good job. He made Iron Man 1 with Mando. And then they're like, okay, now that you got it started, here's Filoni. He's going to carry on the ship and continue and take us through our next 9 phases of Star Wars. Right. And then everything fell to scheisse.
All right, so let's speak on that for a second. We'll kind of go around and let everybody talk about it, but I'll start us off. Dave Filoni, confidence comes from demonstrated ability. He had demonstrated the ability to excel in animated features and in serials, in the Clone Wars and Rebels. That is where he has been really good. I said it 50 times when Ahsoka came out. This is the trial of Dave Filoni. We're going to find out if he's worth his salt right now as he's directing and showrunning an actual live-action series. The show was not good for the majority of us, and it was not good for me, and I'm an Ahsoka fan. So as we walk away from Ahsoka, I have no confidence in Filoni. And the major problem I had with Ahsoka was the storytelling, the lack of cohesion that was going on. I was not happy with. We're sitting there looking at Anakin in the World Between Worlds, arguing about what it is that just happened, because it wasn't clear. Just like things aren't very clear right now with the Acolyte. So and you got a bad guy turning into a green gas vapor trail. So I am like, look, it's not that I want Filoni to never do it again. It's just that was not a win. And if he does another one, it really needs to be a win. If he were to go back and do more in the animated spaces, I would be happier. But that's not what's going to happen with the seat he sits in now at Lucasfilm, based on what I see. He is very powerful now. He's no longer just following George around, doing little stuff. The guy is, I guess you could say, he's a cornerstone of that company right now. So, no, I'm not very confident moving forward, but the truth is I'm not very confident with Favreau either. We gave him a pass. Book of Boba Fett was awful. He was involved. I don't care. People can mansplain it all they want to and do mental gymnastics and say that wasn't him, that was Rodriguez, that was whatever else. He was busy doing this. Where has Jon Favreau been? You're muted.
Who's muted?
I think he left.
That's what a lot of people thought. Yep, that's what a lot of people thought. So we'll just go around. You guys speak on it. Thoughts on Filoni moving forward? What are you thinking? And Payne, you do not feel obligated to speak on this one.
Please do.
I will start with just saying what I would like to see is we talked about this the last time we streamed, which was I would like to see directors. Okay, so I think there should be a balance. You should have writers or people who are Star Wars fans, but maybe the director doesn't have to be the director to me does not have to be a Star Wars fan. They have to be a good director, understand story, pacing, character development. Because otherwise, you get people who are just big fans are just build an echo chamber and then do what they want. And I think you need someone who's just a focused filmmaker, like the Christopher Nolans, the Brad Birds. But you still need your writer who is the diehard Star Wars fan, who knows all the characters, all that, and they work together. So my thing is stop getting people who are directors or showrunners who are just big fans. Get people who are experienced and good at what they do. That's
agree. Yep,
that's where I stand.
Irving Kershner.
Yeah,
right there.
Yep.
There's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's you have to have a filmmaker that can be confident in their whole team. We lost coach.
Oh, the teacher's gone. Yes.
It's our stream now, boys.
It's going down now.
Let's get naked.
I kind of like Payne up there in the top left. I mean, it looks like he should be running the
show. It's. I'm sure he'll be back. I'll finish my thought.
We'll see.
I think it's just you need you need the filmmaker to be able to be confident in their entire team, because it comes together as an entire team. There's a lot of big names that are talked about all the time, but the reality is it's tons of people that are involved with it. It's not just Filoni, it's not just Favreau, it's an entire team. And when you can be confident in that team, from the writing to the animation to whatever it may be, that's what I think where you really need a good director, someone who is capable of literally directing the whole thing and keeping things coordinated and stuff. Let the trust be there.
Yeah, and I think the big thing, and not just this company or these set of films. This is a problem in the industry, because I worked in a few other studios. We worked with other companies, streaming platforms, Netflix, Amazon. The big problem that I've seen all the time were the sheer amount of chefs in the kitchen, the sheer amount of people who were giving script notes, because they had just stumbled in, because there's no checks or balances in that industry. You can be an intern on Friday and a VP on Monday. It wasn't like in the military where we had to actually work up through the ranks, right? You can have lots of unqualified people in high positions, and they're just given a script like, oh, you're important now, give your feedback. That's all over the industry. So you have complete nobodies who are like, oh, I'm important, here's my notes in the script. So you have all these chefs in this kitchen. And this is why the movie industry, why we're getting so much crap, because you don't have that head chef being like, this is how we're going to make this meal. And if you argue with me, you're out. No, you have a bunch of chefs who are all trying to agree with each other, and they're taking all the feedback from all the sous chefs and all the waitresses, acting like they all matter.
Yeah.
Movies by committee instead of movies by a dictator.
I mean,
and I guess when you have a room full of people,
dictator.
I guess when you have a room full of people like that, they're trying to not step on each other's toes and all that stuff, and the whole creative process just gets destroyed.
Well, sometimes they're just trying to sound important, like, oh, I'm this. They asked me my thoughts, so here's my thoughts, instead of maybe just saying, I'm not the best person for it. Everyone wants to be. And the thing is, in the movie industry, everyone wants to be big.
Yeah.
So they all want to have feedback.
It's a high school popularity contest.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so when you look at how Lucasfilm has been doing their shows, and I'm not talking about the Acolyte, but a lot of the other ones, is what did they do? They threw 16 different directors into one show. And they said, give everybody a shot.
Yeah.
Probably not a good idea if you're looking for a unified vision of what Star Wars should look like. And I think that is, it's problematic. But I heard from somebody the other day, somebody who worked in the industry, that the reason they did that was that those younger directors were controllable, easily controllable. So on a set, if there was something they didn't like, you could easily control that director.
Well, I've seen this in the industry. It's a thing you see. And I've seen it in tech too. When I worked in tech, when I did tech startups after I left for a while, if they created you out of nothing, you owed them. So I mean, even tech companies, like this person, he was a software engineer one week, and now he's a CTO of a company because the CEO he knew made him a CTO because they had some connection from college. Well, yeah, now like you owe that CEO your loyalty, because if you leave that company, no one's going to hire you as a CTO. You didn't have the experience anywhere else. Google's not going to be like, I'm not going to hire you as a CTO. You were a mid-level just 6 weeks ago. Your buddy, you're a nepotism hire. That's why you became a CTO. And so these nepotism hires, they have to obey. They were made by this person if they want to survive and have a job. That's just a lot of industries I've seen this in.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I think, not just the film industry, just many industries, the idea of certain levels of work ethic and everything, it's just not the same. Like, you think back to massive productions, like something like, just for example, with Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings films. These were a massive undertaking, that these things were shot simultaneously, like the long hours and the dedication that was needed from this crew, that was a consistent, for the most part, from what I understand, a consistent crew across the board, like of working on all of this. And that took, how many years to do all of this. I don't know if we're ever going to see that level of a production ever again, like just in the way the industry is now. And it's sad, because you think about, like, yes, that took a long time for that to happen, but look at the end product. that came out of that.
And
Well,
it
you
was
saw it
hard.
in
So
Dune.
the behind the scenes of that whole trilogy for Lord of the Rings, there was one, because I got the box set, like the 4-hour behind the scene.
Yep.
I used to watch the behind the scenes all the time, and there was one part that
worn out discs.
I so did I. There's one that I love. You'll probably know the one I talk about. The two people that sat there for how many years making chain link, and they had no fingerprints left, and they said, I would do this again and again. This is the best thing in my life. The heart. That is what brought so many of us into it. It was the heart. They're like, I'm a little part, but I love my part. And that was
Those
still
behind
there.
the scenes were some of the best ever done, in my opinion,
Yes.
for like bonus features and everything. They get the whole crew just filming the behind the scenes stuff.
So I think we robbed the conversation a little bit. Sorry.
Oh no, it's perfect. This is good. Look,
talk about what a workshop and how
I'm not,
incredible.
I'm not controlling this conversation. I'm doing this because Felix has to go, so I'm going to let him give a final word. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So going to the original, before I leave, the original question about the Filoni. I don't have any faith in Filoni doing movies anymore. I think he should stick to the animation side. I think I was a little bit biased because I read the novelization of Ahsoka before going to seeing Ahsoka, and that ruined my whole experience because I was giving to a benefit of the doubt that they were going to follow part of the story that wasn't the Ahsoka movie, and that happened to me the same with
Kenobi.
With Kenobi, I read the novelization of Kenobi, and I had in my mind, I'm pretty sure they read all this, and it didn't pay out the way I thought. So, but yes, thank you guys, thank you, Coach. It was a pleasure to be with all these gentlemen here. As I was saying, this is just like comic book shop, and
This
I
was
love
the
that.
best part of it. Love it.
Yeah.
This is how we used to do it. This is good. We need to
Yeah.
do this more often. Felix, thank you so much. Give your family
Thank
our
you.
best, and I'll see you
Good to
soon,
see you,
buddy.
brother.
Good to see you guys.
Later,
Great,
man.
great meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you too.
John
Have a good
Graberson's
night.
in a member chat says this panel makes me moist.
Oh,
Well then.
Oh boy.
You
I
remember
hope
John on the 5th floor in a towel when we were all
Yeah,
sitting around?
yeah.
Fifty
Nothing
Shades
but a
of Acolyte
towel and
here.
a bottle of wine. That's
Yep.
all. That's all he had.
You want a steak, Xwing? Yeah. Well,
Do you remember that night, MatCave? MatCave's running the stream, and we're at the convention. We're all jumping in the stream drunk.
yep.
that night, Coach, that was one of the funnest nights I've ever had on this platform in any way, shape, or form. Waiting for pictures to come in, people sending us stuff, and just like, dude, that was.
Y'all were laughing when me and Nick got into a lightsaber fight, and I took off running.
Yeah, you did. You ran away.
It was for
I
dramatic
chased after
effect.
you. I'm like,
it
you
was
coward.
Yeah, he chased me for like 8 steps, man. Come on.
So
He
good.
quit. He saw a bottle of rum next to him. He's like, I'm good.
Yep, that was
And then
was a
Tron
great night.
broke my foot. Yeah,
He did. Knee pain. We're talking about a convention in Nashville called Icon, Imperial Commissary Collectors Convention. It's a Star Wars convention of sorts. They always have Star Wars celebrities, toys everywhere that we grew up with, collector's market. It's an amazing time, and we have a channel meetup there every year. So we'll be there again in October. Junkman's going to be there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So hope everybody could come. Luke Capadonna with a $2 super chat. We veered so far from Lucas. This isn't Star Wars anymore, and a lot of people are feeling that way right now.
Gary just said that on the Blaze today with Glenn Beck.
He did.
That's that also goes to show how high of a level that this Acolyte is permeating in the zeitgeist.
Agreed.
That literally, people like Glenn Beck are picking this up. Michael Loftus, who's on Gutfeld, they're talking about it online. But Gary said, he's like, this is not Star Wars. This is Disney Star Wars. There's a difference. It's,
And I agree. I do. But
As would I.
but they have given us some good things. But this doesn't feel like Star Wars for me. But I'm with you. Not to attack anybody that's enjoying it. So Charge 41, $5 super chat. Waiting for the episode where they equate midichlorian count with diversity score. Only thing I'm missing on my Disney disappointment bingo card.
Wow.
Thank you. Wow, that was a good one.
We should do like a Disney bingo card on some of these shows.
Wow.
That's not a bad idea.
Drinking game.
Nick from Echo Base Network,
Oh,
your
no.
third super chat.
You can see your own channel super chat.
I know,
That's
right?
money laundering.
Question for MatCave. Have you finished Final Fantasy VII Remake or started Rebirth? If not, I'm unsubbing immediately. Coach showed Payne the comment from the ex-Disney employee, was curious on his thoughts. Payne, if you'll remind me when we close, I have something that I will share for you that I think you'll find interesting.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
MatCave?
That's enough.
I'm just gonna hide behind this.
Yeah, that's enough.
A great playthrough, by the way. Great playthrough.
By the way, I installed Battlefront Classic last night, and I'm playing.
Right?
I'm playing it tonight.
It got its new patch.
Oh,
so
I'm gonna
you-
get
you-
in
you
so
should
much
have a good
trouble when
experience.
we're playing
So
it
it-
together tonight, right?
I'm down, but here's
go.
the problem. I just got this monitor. I got the 57-inch ultra widescreen curved,
I bought it on my Xbox.
and the original game, it does not like this resolution at all.
Oh,
Yeah, it'll
can I
only
ask
go
a
so
question to
far.
MatCave really quick? MatCave, if I had the original Battlefront and didn't buy the new package that they sold, you can't go online.
No, you can go online. You just can't link the two. Fans brought the original Battlefront 2 back to life.
Well, I mean,
It's running at the moment.
own. If there's Star Wars in front of a game, it's in my Steam library. So
Yeah.
It's new. It's newer.
But the new classic collection was upscaled and all that stuff. But they're not connected. You can't play online together.
I have to
between the
rebuy
two.
it.
You do, and we need to play. And I'm down.
I'll play
And look,
that.
I am going to be a clone soldier. No. I'm going to be a battle droid killing.
You're gonna be a B1 taking down phase ones.
What are Jar Jar Binks' people again?
Gungans.
Are you kidding me?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Total brain fart. Total brain fart. Fake fan. Okay.
He hates the prequels.
You think Anakin put the Death Star, don't you?
Fake fan.
Thank you, Nick, for the $10 super chat, I guess.
Sorry, Nick. Sorry.
Charge 41, a story or side plot around Tassie Loa could be cool. Zagarians hate Jedi, her upbringing as Force-sensitive child on Zagaria, and socio-political influence on Republic-Zagaria relations as Jedi Knight.
I'm sorry, I didn't read that.
Sounds like a question for you.
A story or side plot around Tassie Loa could be cool. Zagarians hate Jedi. Her upbringing is a Force-sensitive child on Zagaria, socio-political influence. Yeah, so I mean, dude, that occurs everywhere. Believe it or not, that occurs absolutely everywhere. If I wanted to pick somebody who like hated the Jedi for stealing a twin, crap, I have to think about that. Who would be a good one?
Well, look, while you're thinking about it, I'm going to let John give his parting thoughts here because he's got a jet as well.
Yeah, guys, it was great. It was great streaming with you tonight. Great show. I hope the chat enjoyed it. I think we got up to about 700 people watching.
We had up to 950.
950. That's awesome.
Yep.
Everybody, always good to see you guys, and hope to join you for the series finale recap of The Acolyte.
Yes, sir. John, we appreciate you, brother. You keep rolling, doing your thing. I'll talk to you soon.
See you later, guys.
All right, later, bud. Now, you were about to provide us an answer to this question, or do you want to keep thinking about it? He's thinking about it. All right, as he's thinking about it, Ministry of Wrong Think with a $9.99. One thing that always blew my mind in the Clone Wars before Maul dies, his very last words were, "He will avenge us," to Obi-Wan. There was so much in that, us. It revealed he secretly respected Kenobi. Yeah, that was a great moment.
It was.
I actually almost said the fight between Kenobi and Maul as my favorite, but it's got to be Ahsoka Vader. There's so much history between both of them, and Junkman does not care. But
I know. I don't know why they brought Darth Maul back. Y'all get mad because somebody changes an age of a conehead, but nobody gets mad when they bring Darth Maul back to life.
I got mad when they killed him in The Phantom Menace.
Should have stayed dead. That was Obi-Wan's first kill. They took it away from him.
Yeah, took it away from him.
You don't get split in half and fall down in a hole. Get spider legs.
Hey, they took away Darth Vader's kill of the Emperor. Took it away from him.
Yeah, well, that's a clone. That wasn't the same
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Somehow.
At least I can say it's not the same guy.
Thank you, Ministry
Yeah,
of Wrong Think, brother. Harmonic Shredder, $10. The Twin Sons final scene is a testament to Ben Kenobi in that he holds the dying Maul in his arms the same way he held both Qui-Gon and Satine. Thank you, Nee, for all your animation contributions. Great thought there, and thank you for that, Harmonic Shredder. We appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Toddzilla with a $5 super chat. Payne, do you have any info on the Singapore division? I remember when they built that Sandcrawler building in Singapore, but they recently closed it.
Yeah. My only thoughts was just like, I knew quite people there, and I think every time I hear about any studio closing, it's just heartbreaking. It's just a sign of the industry. I think we're seeing this up in Vancouver right now, the whole subsidy race. It's too bad. It was a really beautiful building they built. I knew a lot of people that were there, very talented. Yeah, I never like hearing about studio close, even though I'm long since out and I moved on. And I do something else. That was a big part of my life, and I still have a lot of personal connections in the industry. So every single closing, everything that comes up, there's a part of me I feels it every single time.
Yeah, very good, and thank you for responding to that, my friend. And thank you, Toddzilla, for sending that in. Let's see. Thomas Gilkey. Hey, Thomas. He says, hail to all. Keep being amazing. I'm waiting till all the episodes of the Acolyte drop. I'm intrigued. Much love to all. Look, for everybody, look, if you're enjoying it, that's awesome. And if you're going to watch it, I hope you enjoy it. You know, different strokes for different folks.
I think it's a good move.
Yep, absolutely, brother. Thank you, Thomas, for sending that in, man. Toddzilla, $5 again. I still have my selfie video with Junkman from Icon. I had him rant about Brie Larson like he was Mike Zero. All hail Junkman. Do you remember that?
Nah, I'll say I did.
Oh, he's a mess. Thank you, Toddzilla. We hope that you come back to Icon, man. That'll be awesome. And then Edwin with a $2 super chat. I'm going to try this tonight. Try the software Flawless Widescreen.
I use that.
Okay. So is that like a program that you have to run in the background before you start the game up or something?
Yeah, it's how I actually play KOTOR in higher resolutions. And it works really well. I don't know if it's been updated to work with Battlefront Classic, but I'll check it.
Okay. Awesome. Very, very good. All right, gentlemen. That is going to get us all caught up.
Didn't I have to answer something?
Oh, yeah.
You did. Tassie Loa. This one right here from Charge 41.
A story or side plot around Tassie Loa could be cool. Zygarians hate Jedi. Her upbringing is a Force-sensitive child on Zygaria and socio-political influence on Republic-Zygarian relations as a Jedi Knight.
I'm not smart enough to answer this.
I know it. I don't even know what they're talking about.
She's the Padawan, right? That was that same group.
You know Bathead?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the Zygarian Padawan to High School Musical guy.
This
Yord.
cartoon stuff.
Okay.
Yord in the Acolyte. You remember Yord with the High School Musical haircut? His
Yord
Padawan is Tassie Loa, the Zygarian with the bat ears. I actually completely misread that, and I thought that was a completely different character. Could it be cool? Yeah. Do I think people would give a crap enough? No, not at all. So the problem is, if you want to create side stories like that, you have to have people so interested in the main story that they want to branch out and read other stories about other people. What I think is really interesting is that since Yord, the High School Musical Jedi, left, we haven't heard a thing about his Padawan. She's just poof. She's gone. She's gone. No one cares.
Actually, that's a good point. We haven't even.
We've not a word from the Padawan. She's probably just reading books.
Maybe she's Zipperhead.
Yeah, she's Darth Smiley.
Yeah.
Dan Grissom's channeling his inner X-Wing.
Smilo Ren.
Yeah.
What?
Are we all at an agreement, at least, that Rick McKellen should come back?
No. And
he's
look,
never happy.
No, and the reason is Rick McCollum won't even talk Star Wars.
I know.
It's not a good thing for him.
He wouldn't email me back.
He does not want to get in it at all.
No.
So
here's the bottom line. What they should have done is never made the sequels. What Disney should have done is taken the property and made Old Republic stories, and I'm talking violent ones, as gnarly as they could have gotten, take it to a very dark place, and then offshoot that stuff and make kid stories, tell other stories, yada, yada, yada. They should have never touched the Skywalker saga. Lord have mercy. There was a very, very thin window for them to make something that they could have won at, and they missed it about 65 yards to the right.
So I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree. In 1999, we should have got Episode 7, directed by George Lucas. The prequels never should have happened. I'm kidding.
That's not what we're talking about.
It's a joke. It's a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke.
Although I was promised for 16 years I would see Darth Vader and Obi-Wan on a volcano fighting. Never got that.
Yes, you did.
Changed canon once again.
Yeah, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, you did.
Yes, you did.
No, they were not on a volcano.
Yes, it's a
They
volcano.
were literally on a volcano planet.
Yeah,
What
that's
are you
not a
talking
volcano.
about?
That's not the edge of a volcano.
It was a volcano planet. It wasn't just a volcano. I thought there was going to be one volcano in space, and they was going to be fighting on that one volcano in space.
That's what George Lucas stole Starlight Magazine.
I love you, Junkman. I love you.
Oh
to death,
my
man.
goodness! Oh my goodness! Wow,
Volcano
guys,
out of the
look,
ground.
we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for being
Poor
here.
Payne's like, is this really what Star Wars fans are like?
Yeah, he knows what they're about. He knows what we're about. Yeah. Look, guys, thank you so much. And look, the whole thing about tonight's stream was this has really turned out to be something really good. Honestly, I feel like it's been a little therapeutic for me, just to be able to sit back, not be mad, not attacking on Twitter, not getting attacked on Twitter, just sitting here enjoying the conversation, talking Star Wars, not being frustrated about it. I needed this tonight, and I want to say thank you to all of you guys for doing that, and to MatCave for planting this seed. It's been really, really good.
So what was the three-way? He texted you, you texted me.
Three-way.
And then this just became a thing.
That's how three-ways work.
I don't want to hear about y'all's three-way. Don't talk about that.
I love it.
It's turning into a late night.
MatCave, I didn't know you were the architect.
I have all the screens.
Let's go around and kind of just say, where everybody can find you and what you got going on and all that stuff. I'm going to show the comment off screen. Off screen. I will, Nick. I promise you. And then I'll tell you all about it when I call you as soon as we're done.
I swear.
All right. So look, who's the youngest here? Xwing. You start us off.
It's me.
It is. I think me and MatCave are close to the same age.
About to be 33. So I think I got you guys beat there. Yeah. It's just a baby.
Yeah.
You weren't even alive when Star Wars came out. Should have been allowed to talk about it.
This is what Disney fans say. They're like, you weren't even alive.
Well, I guess his answer. Someone in the chat earlier says, I think this is a bunch of Gen Xers. I'm guessing not.
Not all of us.
And blew that theory out of the water.
Yeah.
No, to be honest with you, I love these streams. Coach Nick have been like some of my best friends since I started in the space. MatCave, you and I. This was the root of my Star Wars adventure. It was with you, buddy. Junkman has been there since the beginning, just constantly crapping on me, as soon as I started my YouTube channel. So I love you. I love it, man. You're that little redneck asshole on my shoulder. This is like, man, you suck at what you're doing. I hate you.
You say one thing wrong, I'm going to find a clip of it.
But you know what? If you weren't there, I'd be upset. I'm like, where's Junkman? Where's Junkman? Where's Junkman? Coach, I love you, brother. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for doing this with us.
And then Payne, pleasure to meet you. I don't know if you've worked for Lucasfilm or if you've ever been a part of those projects, but it's been nice to talk about it. And
wait, what? You work for Lucas? What?
Apparently. And then chat, sorry for talking so much.
Oh, that's what you do. Look, I was glad you came. It was perfect. So we know you talk. We know that you're very verbose. It is what it is.
YouTuber. A really bad one.
But look, I mean, the truth is, you have a lot.
I'm
of good
worse.
things to say.
I'm worse. I actually ask people to not subscribe to my channel.
You do.
Try that.
One of your videos, one of your videos, you're like, "Hey, don't hit the button. Don't subscribe. I don't give a f." And I was like, oh,
I say it because I'm like, dude, all you're gonna get called is just a bigot. Do all these different things. Like, don't subscribe then. Don't.
Yeah.
Because the bigger the number gets, the more they're gonna tell you that you're that person. I like this space. I'm comfy with you. I'm comfy with my boys. It's lovely.
Hey, tell them about the Hangar Bay.
T. Davidson, my boy, my brother from Danenda. Good to see you. Good to see you, mate. Join the Hangar Bay. I'm going to stop self-deprecating, and I'm going to start growing my channel. Because you know what? I'm good enough.
Your channel's been growing without you doing anything.
Darn it,
what are you talking about?
People like me.
Yeah.
You're old enough to get that reference?
Does nobody remember that?
No, he's not.
We all remember that. I'm just surprised.
That was like when you were a baby.
Yeah,
dude, I used to love that. Dude, that was what I watched when I was a kid. That's
you
what
guys
I got
remember when Michael Jordan did that? That was classic.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough.
And he was laughing. He couldn't hardly say it. Yeah. All right, MatCave, tell us about the channel and everything going on, my brother.
Dude, and it's been a crazy journey, and like you were saying before, like this feels like the old days. What we're doing right here is how my channel actually got started. You know, I was doing like some little things and then really learned that this was possible through EBN, and then I just kind of took it from there, and now here I am playing games, getting my butt kicked by every kind of enemy that I should be defeating. And you know, people are like, "Oh yeah, he's that big gamer guy." I'm like, "No, I suck." I get destroyed in all these games, but I have so much fun doing it. But it's things like this that I look forward to. You know, it's one thing sitting there being the only one talking and on camera and, you know, kind of trying to keep things going and everything, but I look forward to these like round table sort of deals. This was the core, I think, of why I enjoy doing this, you know, between being on the Echo Base stuff and popping in doing that. Back in the day, Xwing and I doing Boomer Council and
Council.
Dude, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, by the way, and I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I legit, here, 42 years old, sat here and teared up because I was like, God damn it, I miss
that stuff. That discourse was so much fun, man. We got to talk about Star Wars for hours on end. I missed it.
But I love it, man. But yeah, if you know, if anybody likes to check out random games played every week, that's what I'm doing in the retro world. Remasters,
the number one voice in retro gaming. If you don't follow MatCave tonight, I'm gonna find you dogs. I'm gonna find you dogs in your backyard.
I just got gifted a Nintendo collection just a couple days ago, MatCave. I'll have to shoot you some pictures so you can see what I got.
I'm gonna need to see those.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I actually have something before.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I got something for Junkman. I wanted to show him because you know we haven't been talking about toys, but I got to turn off my green screen for this because it's green.
While he's doing that, Junkman, you owe me an AT-AT.
Yes, you come in the icon this time. I can't.
Not an AT-AT. You owe me an AT-AT.
It's an AT-AT.
You owe me an AT-AT.
No, it's AT-AT. You don't get it now. I'm gonna burn it. I'm making a video where I'm gonna beat it with a hammer. I do have it for you. That's a lot of shit.
Beat it with a hammer.
There's gonna be a video out tomorrow.
That's hard.
Millennial toxic Star Wars fan called AT-AT. I can't wait to see you spell that in the title.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you saw me pop this up before, and the reason I had this nearby is because my kids were playing with this. This is my very well worn and played with Optimus Prime.
That's Power Master Optimus Prime, 1988.
Prime right here. Yep. And he's been played with and still is played with because I see my kids playing with the other day. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. The other toy they're playing with is my 1981 rubber hand puppet Lucasfilm Limited Yoda. That's in great condition, but I've had this since I was a baby.
I was just looking at them on eBay because I did a video about the talking one that didn't get released. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I like to have the puppet one. I had it as a kid.
Oh, this thing is so great. You know, it's still,
Yeah.
you know, the whole rubber mold and everything.
That's a koozie, man.
It gets your hands
Right.
sweaty.
Oh my God! Flip this over.
You
Yeah,
see,
there
yeah,
you
dude,
go.
put a 30-ounce Coors Light in that thing and poke a hole in the mouth, and you gotta.
There you go.
But I
That
just,
is cool,
I
though.
love that. Like, this is the stuff my kids will go and play with. Like, they have tons of like
Yeah.
all the newer toys, which is a lot
Awesome.
of garbage, to be honest. And all of a sudden, they're playing with Optimus Prime and Yoda, and there's a storyline going on. So
Good
it's
kids.
a proud father moment.
Yes, I can see that.
You're an inspiration, sir.
Great question here, and Nick and I got it from Nick. This is horrible. Y'all are going to laugh at me. What do you call an ATST? We call them at stats.
At stats.
ATST.
Junkman approved message there, which is completely wrong. But yeah,
I know, but that's what we had some weird names for some of the things.
you know what I called them?
It's
Chicken
Scout
walkers.
Yeah, Scout
yeah,
Walker.
that too.
Yeah.
That too.
But the
All right.
chicken walker and the Scout Walker were different.
Oh,
The chicken
nerd.
walker, the chicken
we
walker
go.
was the at stat, and then the Scout Walker was the one that we saw in Empire that we didn't actually get until that release. That one that I have sitting right there, which was the
They
At
came out
Scout?
with the Scout Walker on the Empire Strikes Back toy line.
I have it.
Okay. Yep. Junkman, cool ass white boy. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Just go to that junkman.com, take you right to my YouTube page. 2 videos a day, mostly talk about stuff before Xwing was even born. So you probably don't know what I'm talking about half the time. but I got 3 videos that I think your audience might like. One, I took all the reaction videos of people talking about Acolyte, good and bad, and put them all in one video. So that's pretty fun. Then
Did I
took
make it in there,
interviews-
Junkman?
No.
Come
Nobody knew who
on,
you were.
man.
But I took another where I took interviews from 77, from the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy. There you go, Xwing, and the new interviews. And it's amazing how much different they talk about Star Wars in that video.
Yeah.
And there was a third one, which I don't remember what it was now. Oh, the last days of Lucasfilm about Lucas.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, you did a good
Yeah.
job on that.
Oh, thank you.
You did a good job on that. Now,
Thank you,
don't
thank
you
you.
want to say something about your T-shirts?
Oh yeah, it's $15 this weekend. Junkmanmerch.com. You can get this one. You can get this one. Junkman. You can have my face on a shirt.
I had
I got
call-ins
better.
one
Buy
time.
that
I
shirt.
had call-ins one time, and I get this number call. I answer it. I'm like, live with Echo Base Network. And he goes, junkmanmerch.com, and he hangs up.
Hey, I got to put it out there. Junkmanmerch.com. We got ads
my
now
goodness. Yep. Thank
you
you,
can get
brother.
a Turtles record
Embrace
shirt.
the grift, brother.
Yep, absolutely. Knee Payne, tell everybody where they can find you and what this whole experience has been like. Because and how has your wife? What is she or your partner? Y'all aren't married, but
No, not yet. No.
What does your partner think about
Get
all
after
this
it.
YouTube craziness going down?
She doesn't pay attention. She has no idea.
Smart lady.
Wouldn't understand.
I fell in love with a nerd.
Knee pain. We are brothers in the same war.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah,
what
she
the
just-
hell is Star Wars?
My wife tells me
She
to
walks
quit
past
using
my
my
studio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she like,
I had one
like,
like
I can't see the camera, but I have like cameras up and lights, and she'll see me mess around, just like
Yeah.
lets me. I have to have my thing, and she knows that. So
My wife tells me to quit using my fake voice.
Oh my God.
I
Are
remember
you
that when
are you doctoring your voice on YouTube, Coach?
Yeah. She said this
I
isn't
don't
how
do
I
that.
really
I
talk.
never do that.
You think
I
she
always
asked me that
talk
at
that
night
way.
sometime? I want the YouTube coach tonight.
It's
baby.
been a couple decades.
If it's any consolation, knee pain, my wife has no idea what I'm doing, but every, hour to hour and a half, she just brings in my child, my 4-month-old girl, and goes, "Remember?" And I'm like, "Hey, look at my baby!" And then I hand her back.
This is why I got rid of my wife. I can make videos all day.
Oh my gosh.
Knee Pain, tell us about it, man.
Where did you used to work? I would like some history backstory. I never
Well,
seen this before.
I was a
Got
Class
here.
A truck driver. I did drive semi before.
There we go.
Where did you used to work?
All we need to know. He's a working man.
I'm telling y'all,
Yep.
Junkman is so dang funny, dude. Oh my gosh.
No, thank you.
I don't know that I'm on YouTube somewhere. I do literally the most random stuff. I don't care. I'm like working on a video about programming tutorial. I've done camera videos. I've talked about personal stuff, which is how I got myself in trouble this week and got noticed because I just vented and then everyone ran with it. I had a project I've been meaning to do. I've always wanted to do like it's not original, but I've always want to do like parody movie trailers, but like in the voice of Don LaFontaine, the original 90s movie guy. And I actually started working on an Acolyte script the other day. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to actually do this, but in a world where logic and coherence are but distant memories, comes a story so convoluted even the characters don't understand it. Prepare yourself for a journey that makes less sense than Stevie Wonder in a strip club. Witness a screenplay that defies all known rules of storytelling. From the writers who brought you absolutely nothing memorable, The Acolyte, because every epic saga deserves a terrible script. You know, I've always wanted to do like comedy stuff like that.
Can you please let me score
I'm
that?
clipping that.
I have to score that trailer.
You do that on your
Score that
channel.
trailer.
You do that on your channel, and you're just gonna blow right by all of us.
We don't want that to happen. I don't want to be famous.
One
no,
video
no,
is
do
the
it.
2.2 million subscribers.
You already have the gear and the voice and everything else, so do it.
I know I need to work on, and I got to edit a video for it and all that. So I'll get to it.
Lore accurate.
Hey, Lord's whatever you want. Filoni said
There you
it.
go. There you go. Hit the campfire.
Yeah,
That was great.
Well, guys, thank y'all all very much for being here. Chat, thank you. And I'll say this, you know, with the way that it's all gone online with the fandom and stuff, I certainly haven't meant to make anybody feel like, hey, you can't like something. I have not meant that in any way. So for the people who are following us or watching this on Twitter right now, honestly, if I posted something that made you feel that way, I apologize. I didn't mean it that way, and I hope that some of this tonight has cleared that up. So, as we always say here, you are Echo Base Network. Whatever your love of Star Wars is, it's all good with us. Thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you.
Hey,
JunkmanMerch.com.
Don't subscribe to me. Don't subscribe.
Knee Pain, don't leave. Don't leave, Knee Pain.
I'm here.
going to show you
I'm here.
something. All right.
All right.
Later, guys.
Later.
Coach and Nick from Echo Base Network, thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens.
Hello, my name's Tim Rose, and I'm with you here at Echo Base today. I've had a great time, and I played Admiral Akbar in Return of the Jedi, The Force Awakens, and finally in The Last Jedi. But the one thing that I seem to be remembered more than anything else is, it's a trap.
I'm going to post a link to Knee Pain's channel on our community tab. It'll be on YouTube in 2 minutes. See you guys later. Thanks again, guys.